Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of the podcast. I'm your co-host M2 Dave, and I'm here with my other co-host MK Rio.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the podcast. We're on episode 46 now, and we're joined with the UMK3 current champion, Detroit Ballin, who just won CKK that was held a few weeks ago in Ohio, ran by Tajusis. We also have another special guest with Biggs, who was at the tournament and plays Thai, as well as my co-host Dave. Tom Brady unfortunately couldn't make this episode, so I want to first say, welcome everyone. For the first topic, let's discuss the keyboard. And I want to ask the current UMK3 champion, because this has been the hot topic recently. How do you feel about keyboard in UMK3? Do you think players have a point when they're saying it's unfair and gives an advantage, or do you think it's blown out of proportion and people are using it as an excuse for why people are losing?
Well, hello everybody. Thanks for having me on. First of all, no, people don't have a point when they talk about this keyboard. They actually don't know what they're talking about. I've been going over this stuff with people like Shock for years now. The way I look at it, it doesn't the input you're using doesn't define the player. Okay, you could put me on a keyboard, you could put me on a stick, and I firmly believe that I'll still be placing as high as I am currently on this keyboard. Okay, the way I like to put it is you can't macro, you can't do anything with like cheating wise with reactions and like how to punish a sweep. You can't do that shit. This stuff like this takes time and literally months and years to like perfect. People like Biggs are doing this shit on a stick. People like there's pad players punishing my sweeps all the time on 5K. Like this is an ongoing thing, and this needs to stop because the input has nothing to do with the player. I'm just gonna keep it short for now. We'll talk about this more later on, but that's all I gotta say for now.
Yeah, so regarding the keyboard, there's been talks, like I think Biggs had some points of, things that people have been saying that are false actually regarding keyboards and how they work and either the MS response time. Do you want to talk about that, Biggs?
Sure. The last time you guys did a podcast, I think Arion was on here, and he was trying to make the claim that like keyboards have the lowest response time, and he was basically giving it as a reason of why keyboards are basically unfair in comparison to like controllers or other input methods. And he said that keyboards have the lowest response time at 1 ms. Like that's 100% not true. Like that's not how the lag works for controllers at all. In the past, people used to say like if you had, I don't know if you guys know what like a PS2 keyboard is. There's USB keyboards these days, but like in the past, you have that like green and purple like input on the back of your computer. It's called PS2. And people used to say those had like the lowest input response because the way they work on a technical level is they send like direct interrupts to your actual computer. And USBs are a little different. Those have to basically, the computer has to pull your USB and that basically gets the inputs. But when it pulls like at a certain rate. So what Arion was trying to say is that since keyboards have a higher polling rate, they basically have like a faster input response. But that's actually not true at all. I don't know where he got like that information from, but it's like 100% not true. So
Yeah, because I've heard that over the, in general, like for a while, that keyboards have the edge with response time, and you do something, you get it much quicker than input from a controller. If you could, can you explain to us, like dumb it down, like why do people feel that way? Like where did this come from?
can you say that one more time?
Like regarding how people feel that, a keyboard, like I understand people feel that keyboards are more accurate for doing inputs, but in terms of why do a lot of people feel that when you use a keyboard and whatever you do on it, like let's say you press a key and if you press a button on a controller, why has it been like a lot of people feel that if you press something on a keyboard, you get it a lot quicker in response? Like, for example, 1MS like that was mentioned, and people feel controllers a lot delayed. Like, what is the reason that's been caused?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's easy to explain. So that actually comes from controllers, specifically on modern consoles like PS4. If your controller is wireless, it actually has lower input response time than if it was being used wired on the same console. So that has to do directly with like the polling rate thing I was talking about earlier. When you were to plug like your PS4 controller in on the PS4 by USB, the polling rate is set much lower than it would be if you were to connect it through Bluetooth. So because people are playing with like these PS3 and PS4 controllers through USB on like a PC, they're basically getting their inputs at a lower polling rate. So that's where that like myth sort of comes from, and it is true. But what Arion is like claiming is that the polling rate for a keyboard is even higher than for a controller, and that is not necessarily true. And a lot of people on Fightcade are overclocking like their computer's polling rates for their USBs too to get a lower latency. So it is something that you can set like for sure. But yeah, that's where that ultimately comes from.
Okay, see, that's interesting because I didn't know it, was kind of like this. I've kind of also, I guess, followed the general opinion of the crowd that, keyboards have the fastest response time, this and that, and they have all this other stuff. But to get into some other stuff regarding the keyboard, and I remember like things were mentioned such as, people bringing up there's keyboard macros, there's MS lag keyboards, there's modded keyboards. What does that mean exactly? Like you have to, because I remember Detroit, you were at CKK, and I believe you mentioned that the tournament host there, Drew, checked your keyboard to make sure there were no mods set up into it.
Yeah. So Biggs and I were playing some grand casuals before the tournament started, and Drew, the tournament organizer, came up to me and he was like, literally just asking questions, like just about my keyboard, like my inputs or whatever. And yeah, I literally sat there. I was showing him like what buttons I use, like my layout and everything. And I literally was pressing like all the buttons on the keyboard, showing that there's nothing shady going on. Like he wasn't asking me to like prove my keyboard is legit or whatever. But I went out of my way just because last year's tournament, there's a lot of like speculation that I was like using like a modded keyboard and macros, this and that. That's kind of why I said what I said after I won last year. So he didn't, like I said, he wasn't asking me to like show him my keyboard, but I went out of my way to show him like myself. That way there's no like talks about this in the future. Like who knows? Like I never expected any of this to come up about like the whole keyboard thing again, because I'm not the first person to play on keyboard, and I'm not going to be the last one. And for some reason, I'm the only one getting shit about using the keyboard. So yeah, I went out of my way to show him, and like I was even showing Biggs too, like because we were talking about like SLCD on the keyboard and everything like that, and I was showing him like it doesn't work on my keyboard, like there's no SLCD like cleaner or no, sorry, there's an SLCD cleaner that's built in on Fightcade and MAME, so like even though I'm on a keyboard and I'm able to press both buttons at the same time, when I do, I get a neutral input. So people like to just point fingers and like assume that I'm pressing forward and backwards at the same time, because it's easy just to point fingers and blame something when you literally just like are just like not you. I don't know. I the way I look at it, it's like people that are complaining are just upset and mad that like I kind of came out of nowhere with the UMK3, and I became better than everybody in such a short period of time. So to me, the way I look at it, they're just like pointing fingers and they're finding something to blame other than themselves. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually
100% facts, bro. Like Arion last time, he was trying to like come up with all these. Oh, his keyboard could be modded. Oh, maybe it doesn't have SOCD cleaner. Like all this stuff is like so pathetic, because it doesn't matter if your controller has an SOCD cleaner or not, because MAME and Fightcade have SOCD protection built in them.
Yeah,
Like,
so
it
real
doesn't
quick,
matter.
like for players like me, and I'm sure a lot of people in the audience don't understand, what is SOD cleaner? What is like modded keyboards? Like, can you explain like what all this stuff is? Like how someone could use it in UMK3 and like just go in detail with that?
Yeah, so what we're talking about is called SOCD, and it stands for simultaneous opposite cardinal directions. And basically what it means is if you press two opposite directions, input directions like left and right or up and down, you're basically supposed to get a neutral. And the reason you want to get a neutral is because if you're playing on like an arcade stick, or maybe, yeah, let's just say like an arcade stick, UMK3 is an arcade game, so you would use an arcade stick. Therefore, it's not possible to press up and down at the same time, because your joystick can only go one way. But this changes when you start playing on other controller types. Maybe you play on a pad and you can press up and down, like up on the D-pad and down on the analog stick, or you're playing on a keyboard and you can press up and down arrows or W and A, or you're playing on a hitbox. And basically, on an older version of MAME, this was like MAME 64, like real old school, like in like before 2010. If you pressed left and right, basically your character would not get a neutral. You could hold left and right at the same time and basically never get thrown. Because in UMK3, you have to hold back to not get thrown. So you were able to do that on a really old version of MAME that used to be the standard. In recent years, though, the newer version of MAME has SOCD protection. So if you input left and right or up and down, you will get no input at all. So it'll be neutral, and basically you have to stop holding one direction to get the other one to come out properly. So like if I pressed left and right and I held them down, I would just be thrown because my character would stay still. I wouldn't be holding back or forward. When Fightcade first came out, they did not have SOCD protection built into the game. So you could do a lot of really fraudulent stuff. Like you could hold back and tap forward. Like you'll see like Sindel, she would walk backward and then she would like tap forward and do like a scream, even though she's walking back. Like that's obviously like very unnatural, and it wouldn't be possible in like the regular version of the game. So usually people like to bring up the fact that hitboxes and keyboards don't have an SOCD cleaner in them. So a cleaner is like an additional piece of like hardware that you put in your controller, and it basically enforces SOCD cleaning at a hardware level instead of using software for the game. So games like Marvel 3, they also had the same problem in the original Marvel vs. Capcom 3. If you held two directions, you could block both ways at the same time, basically. So these games back then, like UMK3 and a lot of other games, did not have SOCD protection built into the game. So it was required for you to have a hardware SOCD cleaner. But since we play every tournament on like the newer version of MAME and the newer version of Fightcade, those clients, those emulators have SOCD cleaning built into them. So there is no need to have a SOCD cleaner at all. And any insinuation that like his controller or his keyboard is unfair because it doesn't do SOCD cleaning, like it's completely unfounded. Like it's just false.
Wow, I see. So the way I got from what people were saying is it made it seem like, let's say Ermac, for an example, to do his teleslam, you have to do back, down, back, high kick. I was under the assumption of maybe people were saying like, if all you have to do is hold back and then you hold down and then you wait for someone to do something and then you just have to tap back, high kick and get a tail lift. So it doesn't work that way at all.
No, that is a little different from SOCD, but no, you have to return to neutral after blocking. That's not possible. So if you were to try to punish a sweep with like Ermac and you want to get lift out, you could do back, down, and block with your down input and then tap back, and you could get the lift buffered in your block input like that. That's one way of doing it, or you would have to return to neutral and input back, down, back after returning to neutral.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you can't just sit there, hold back, and then hold down for like 5 seconds, then wait for them to do something, and then just tap back high kick, right? That doesn't work that way. You have to actually do the input.
Not with Ermac, no. Some other characters you can do that though.
Okay, so then I'm interested, like, when people say like modded keyboard, what are they referring to exactly? Like, are they talking about you press one button on the keyboard and then your character does an automatic special? Like, what do they mean for that exactly? They're like, check to see if this keyboard's modded.
Yeah, I think that is like I think that's like just dishonest framing, to be honest, like saying, oh, his keyboard's modded. I think what they're referring to is that Detroit Ballin has an N64 keyboard. And the whole keyboard thing, there's two keyboards here. There's a normal keyboard that he's playing on MAME on, and then he has another keyboard that he can plug into an N64. So I think there was like a conflation about modded. They were referring to the one he plugs into the N64, and it's modded in the sense that it's literally like an N64 pad that is hooked up to like the keyboard keys. So, but they're using the word like modded keyboard. It's like an entire misnomer in complete bad faith to make it seem like he's cheating when that's not the case at all.
Yeah, I can talk about that too. So what it actually is, it's literally just a N64 controller. I had somebody open it up, grab the chip out, and then put it inside of my a keyboard, and then they literally wired up. I didn't even get all the buttons wired up. I got high punch, low punch, high kick, low kick, block, and run wired up. It's maybe start in Z. That's all. So I'm missing the C up and C right or whatever it is. Like I don't even have all the buttons that a normal controller has. So it's literally wired up. I have one wire going to one key for one button, so on and so forth. And there's only one for every button. So there's no way I can store. It's literally a 64 controller inside of a keyboard. It's just placed inside of a keyboard. So there's no way I can macro like a Cinderella Flight Infinite or whatever they're trying to like insinuate or imply about my quote unquote modded keyboard. There's no way I can do anything as far as like programming goes. So like again, maybe I'm misunderstanding like what they're claiming as well, but I could literally sit down and show everybody my puts on that as well. Like there's nothing going on. It's just people are just like pointing fingers. That's all it is.
See, like with you, I'm also confused what they mean exactly because when you guys are talking about modded, you mean like I remember way back, this was like during Injustice 1 2013 time, when there was a player called Phil who went by 995. He used to run MK Trilogy tournaments and casuals, and he also had modded sticks or modded controllers that we could plug in so that
It's
we could
literally
use like
it's literally the
so
same concept, same
yeah,
idea,
so
same
yeah,
concept.
so you guys are saying like modded in terms of changing it so it works on a different platform. But what these other people are saying is that they're assuming like check to see if it's modded, not in like if it's compatible, but is there like one button cabal spins? Is there like macros or whatever you can do that you press it and you do like an auto combo on it? Like that's when I see them saying that, it feels like they're talking about stuff like that. But like, how would that even work? Because to do that,
That's what I'm saying. I think Biggs kind of explained it right. I think when they say modded, it just means it's not like an actual 64 pad. It's I'm pressing the buttons on a different device, so right away people are saying it's modded, and they're making
okay,
it
see,
sound like they're making it sound like it's like cheating or it's like
yeah,
unfair or
see,
like
when I hear stuff like that, like, oh, he's using a modded keyboard or modded this, I'm assuming that the person playing on is using something that's like modded to give them an advantage. Like, oh, you get the perfect Cabal air fireball. You just press one button, it does it for you. Like it's set in a certain way. When like they put it that way, it kind of sounds misleading, like you guys said, because at that point, why not just say it's modded to be compatible, not it's modded to give an advantage, like like Melina's doing perfect string or perfect roll punishes or whatever in that sense. That's where I feel like the confusion gets out of hand, and then something like a keyboard gets put on so much blame. And by the way, it's not just a keyboard thing. We had modded PlayStation controllers for N64. We had modded sticks. I don't know if you guys had them there at CKK, but we've had these for a while, and even in South America, because Trilogy is very big down there, they have a lot of that modded stuff down there for the controller. Like they have modded sticks and all that.
yeah, it's literally just a narrative
yeah.
that they're trying to push. That's all it is.
I played on a arcade stick and I plugged it into an N64. And in the past, when I won CKK, no one ever had an issue with it. So why do they have an issue now? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
see, I think it's just the way it's worded because again, when people go around going like, "Oh, Detroit's winning on a modded keyboard," when I look at that sentence, what I'm getting out of it, I'm sure a lot of people feel this way, is they're basically saying like Detroit's keyboard is modded in a way to let him do like specials or strings or combos,
like an
or like
unfair
he says,
advantage.
yeah, exactly. That's why.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people, and then they go with it. Dave, sorry,
Yeah,
you wanna go
it's
ahead?
totally misleading. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to the whole keyboard thing and like, okay, so for CKK, Drew made the rules, right? Drew said you can bring whatever input device you want to play on, whatever, as long as you have one button per input, one input per button. Okay. So with that, I'm like, cool, I can use my keyboard, whatever. So before every match on stream, you could literally see us set up our keys, our buttons, whatever. You see my inputs have one input per button, one button per input. It's literally up right before every single game on stream. Okay. And I'm not here to like point fingers or like accuse anybody because it's literally like the furthest thing I want to do because that's not what I'm here for. But you have people like Shapeshifter, you have people like CN who visually you could see multiple buttons bind it to like a single key or a certain like high punch or low kick, whatever it is,
Wait.
But
Are they using that in tournament though?
no. Hold on. Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
are, but they're not doing it in bad faith. They're doing it because that's just like how like their input like allows it. Like Shapeshifter does like two run buttons or two block buttons to be able to morph into everybody like while holding block or something. And then CN he's using a stick, which is a modded stick, by the way. Meaning it's not like actual like hardware that came from like a company or whatever. It's like
I
he's
don't
able
even
to
like
like
this.
It's like custom
Yeah,
made.
yeah.
This
Yeah,
modded
it's custom
term.
made.
We should just like stop saying that entirely.
Yeah, like,
we
I
should
feel
stop
it's
that.
I'm only saying
misleading.
that. I'm only saying that using
Yeah.
using the same logic as like people.
Yeah,
are
I know
very
the same
using,
logic they're doing, but like,
Yeah, but
it's
see, the
nasty.
thing
Like,
is,
we should-
when you refer to it like this, it causes so much confusion. Because again, when I hear stuff like that, I'm thinking like people are setting up macros and doing all this shortcuts and cheats. I think that's a bad way to
Yeah.
refer to it.
No,
Just,
yeah,
it
I know,
causes so much
Like,
confusion.
yeah, I know. I didn't actually mean like, oh, they're using modded sticks. I'm just using their logic. But I want to finish my point. So CN has like a low kick or whatever that you see like two different like inputs pop up whenever he presses that one button. So like obviously like the stick is reading as two inputs and there's two inputs on the screen visually, but no one says shit about that. No one cares about it. But you see my inputs. My inputs have one button per input, one input per button, and people just are for some reason complaining about my inputs. It's because people they are upset that they can't win, that they're not winning anymore, they're no longer relevant or whatever, and they're just finding shit to blame on. And then that's just one of the things. So
Let me ask you
yeah.
guys this question. So obviously, Legacy's coming out in, essentially in less than a week. What relevancy does this drama have if we're gonna have a new tournament standard copy, whatever unit for the game? And I assume it's gonna be the PS5 version, right? And God willing, everything's gonna run perfectly, so we can maybe put these silly topics to the rest. I agree with Detroit Ball, and just real quick, my opinion. It seems like people are just salty that they're no longer winning, and there's a new kid on the block who's now essentially bodying everybody. But again, the point is, can either Biggs, you Detroit Ball, if when this new version of the game comes out, will these topics be resolved or not?
Hell no. And look, let me say this before they go. Look, what you're saying, how is this relevant to the topic? The point is, like, right now people are complaining about it, and the UMK3 scene isn't like, super mainstream. When this collection comes out and the game becomes a lot bigger, there's going to be a lot of people playing it and doing stuff. If they're right now complaining about Detroit using keyboard or people using whatever certain stick, there's going to be other people showing up with other stuff, right? Let's say they're using an Atari controller or they're using a fight stick. And I believe at CKK there was someone, what was this? It was Roseville Reaper who was playing MK1, and he wasn't using an MK stick. He was using like a standard, I think it was a Street Fighter stick with 8-button layout to play that game. And then, there were some people saying that, look, that's not fair. He's using like a modified version of that stick to have an advantage in MK1 with Sub-Zero. So this it's going to lead to like, now that a lot of people are going to be playing it and there's going to be more people using what they want, it's like we kind of have to address it now, and we probably should stop calling it modded if it doesn't have scripts and stuff in it, and just say it's like a perfect controller. Because for this collection, you're going to be allowed to basically plug in and play with what you want, like any other PC game. Like if I want to plug in a PS2 controller, I can do that, or Xbox, or PlayStation, or keyboard, or stick, or hitbox, whatever you want to use. So that's going to kind of become the standard.
People have had this conversation about hitbox for a long time, and as far as I know, the hitbox, I don't know if it has it's still allowed, right, in tournaments. So I think it's up to the tournament organizers to agree on a standard. And again, as far as I know, hitboxes, they're still allowed, right? Are they not?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, you can play on a hitbox is provided it has an SOCD cleaner.
Okay.
Or it has some type of thing. It depends on it actually depends on the type of pro tour you're playing in. So like Capcom, they have specific rules. The Tekken World Tour, they have specific rules. So it just depends on that. They have different rules on what type of SOCD cleaning you can have. They have like either neutral wins or last input wins or something like that. So there's a whole lot of rules regarding hitboxes. But if you go to any major tournament today, I've been to literally every tournament this year, like every major. Hitbox is one, bro. Like literally, I see more hitboxes than I see regular controllers and pads now. So like the future's here, bro.
Rio linked me to a video, and someone I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the content creator, but he was even like ranting against hitboxes. The reason I say this topic is irrelevant is because these people don't represent the majority of even the turn. I don't think the person is even a tournament organizer. So like, while his opinion matters, like, who cares? Like, he's not a tournament organizer, so can't really force that view upon any community, that he would like to. So that's the reason I say irrelevant. But I think, can you guys address what effect, if any?
Oh wait, real quick, the guy you're talking about, because I was also linked to this video that he was talking about, and I shared it with you because I was like, look, this is kind of getting around. People are talking about it. It goes by the name. It was a player in the UMK3 community that goes by the name Rexer, I believe. And he
Oh
put out
my
a video,
God.
and he was very adamant about how the equipment being used, how this will not fly on a regular arcade system. Like, if you're using things to play a game that it was not originally made for, then you're basically considered a cheater.
I
And
can't believe we're talking about this Rex Snore guy real quick, but I do want to say one thing because I didn't watch the video, but someone told me about it. This guy was making like he was complaining about how people are using any like inputs other than like original hardware or whatever. He was saying like if you're gonna run a tournament, buy an arcade machine and have everyone play on the same arcade machine. Blah blah blah. It's like, and he said something. If I'm not mistaken, he said something like, if you can't buy an arcade machine, buy an arcade one up or buy this, buy that or whatever. He was giving alternatives that made sense to him, not understanding that arcade one ups, if I'm not mistaken myself, aren't those just like an emulation of the game as well? And there's like
Yeah, they
delay
are.
in those. Yeah, there's like a crazy delay in those cabinets too. But he's trying to make the claim that that's like original hardware. It's the only way to play the game. It's like if you expect people to show up to a tournament not being able to play what they want to play on, then I don't know what world you're living in.
yeah, see, this is why I understand why Drew runs his tournament the way he does. Because again, if you were to host a UMK3 tournament today's time, have it be like, okay, guys, we're gonna play on an arcade cabinet, and that's it. You guys can't bring anything. I think a lot less people would show up. I mean, you're basically making it so all the players that grew up playing the games on console aren't going to show up. The people that want to play on Hitbox aren't going to play. The people that want to play on a keyboard, people that want to play on Street Fighter 6, people that want to play on whatever they're using are not going to be there. So you're just going to be left there with an even smaller crowd than it should be. So on Drew's case, like it's better to open it up to more people. And also, this whole playing how it was an arcade. First of all, we're not really playing how it is in an arcade, even though you're playing. Because think about it. Back then, when you were playing, the game was released, you had to put coins in to play. I don't think people are doing that right now on the arcades. They're basically playing on like a modified arcade set to free play where you don't have to put in money to play. So it's not in like the same sense of how it was back in the arcade days. It's like this illusion that it is.
Well, that's why, Rhea, I say this whole topic is an illusion. But don't we want people to play this legacy? Why are we focusing on the silly topic? Like, it doesn't do anything for the scene. It doesn't do anything for the players. With all due respect to Biggs and Trouble, nobody knows what the hell some of these technical terms are. I never even knew what some of the stuff is, right? I think it's wrong focus. I think we should be talking about the game. We should be talking about why people should play it. We should be educating people what the game is. And I think there's a multitude of other topics that we should be discussing instead of why Detroit Ballin is a fraud because he brought some kind of things that, a couple of dudes thought was whatever, quote unquote, modded or illegitimate or, not authentic. I think to me is very, very silly.
No, I agree. And real quick, before we get into UMK3, let's talk about, how, and this is another topic, how some players are annoyed that other MK games outside of UMK3 kind of took a really big hit after the discovery of glitch apps, because now people are doing that stuff in MK1. And Biggs, if you want to cover that, because you were at CKK where, this was seen in one of the other games.
Yeah, so there's a lot of old school players that have never really adapted to the new style of glitch jabbing, and that new style was kind of spearheaded by the UMK3 community. And after it became like the total meta for UMK3, it kind of bled over to the other MK games, specifically MK1 and MK2 is what I'm referring to here, but it's also in MK4. I think people like Summoning and James. I have a lot of respect for James MK. I have no respect for Summoning personally, but I think a lot of them really don't like the UMK3 jabs, and it's understandable. Like it can look kind of dumb, and if you are not proficient at glitch jabbing, it's incredibly hard to beat someone who is. And I think they basically had the mindset where they didn't like glitch jabs, so they're not going to play UMK3. Perfectly understandable. So they go back to like MK1 and MK2, and with the advent of like Fightcade, you basically have all these people playing those games, and they're playing it like it's UMK3. They're glitch jabbing. Like even the scrubs on Fightcade know how to glitch jab. That's like the basic thing, right? So I feel like they basically had their favorite games just ruined, like by glitch jabbing. Specifically, I'm talking about MK1 here. MK2, I don't think it's really that much of an issue. But, if you think about like MK1, the old tier list, a lot of people would be like, yo, Sonya is the best character free. But these days, like these MK1 tournaments that I've seen, it seems like Sub-Zero is pretty good because all you do is literally just glitch jab, and if you do anything, he just punishes it with slide. And I think these people like James MK and Summoning are really, really salty at glitch jabs, and they're taking it out on the UMK3 players because they feel like that they've ruined their game, their favorite game, MK1. And that's why you have people like Roseville Reaper, they go offline and they literally just pick Sub-Zero and they sit there and glitch jab all day. You do anything, they slide, and people look at the game, they're like, oh, it's so ugly. Roseville, he's a scrub, he doesn't know how to play. Like, I remember the first offline tournament Roseville Reaper went to 5 years ago. He didn't win. He lost to Truku. Now they might have played a Sub-Zero mirror in grand finals and that shit was ugly as fuck. But Roseville came offline this past tournament and he's catching a whole lot of hate from these OGs because he's literally just spamming glitch jabs and then sliding on reaction, you know? So I think a lot of that glitch jab hate and that keyboard hate, they're taking it out on like Detroit Ballin and all these UMK3 players, but they're really only mad because it's affecting them on their older games like MK1. And I'm not gonna lie, I think it has ruined those games like MK1, but I don't think MK1 was ever a good game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well,
Rio,
it's good. Wait, hold on.
Rio,
It's good.
Let me just say this because Rio linked me to a video. It was some kind of Mortal Kombat 1 tournament. Not that Mortal Kombat, the older one, right? Dude, I'm not gonna lie. It was like, I don't know, maybe Sub-Zero, I guess maybe it might have been even the mirror, dude. It was pretty ugly.
It was,
to
I
watch.
believe, it was the tournament because I wanted to see some of it because I was told like, hey man, you got to watch this Sub-Zero match. Like MK1's changed now, so I took a look at it. I'm like, you know what? Let me also send this to Tom and Dave so they could see it. And I believe it was Grand Finals MK1, the classic MK1, not the new one. It was Dubson against Roseville Reaper, and Roseville Reaper was using Sub-Zero, and it looked really hard to fight. Now, I like that Biggs mentioned that, for decades, the best character in MK1, not the new one, the old one, was Sonya for decades. She was considered the best character. But now, as of recently, as the past couple of years, the new character is now kind of being considered Sub-Zero as the best. So the meta has shifted so much, and I think seeing stuff like that is very interesting to see, even though it may not be in the way you want it to be because of glitch jabs. But when you think about it, I mean, like Biggs, if you have to break it down, like how powerful is glitch jabbing or block jabbing in MK1? Like, is it really hard to stop? Is there anything you can do, or do you just have to hope you don't lose the life lead and then you do anything and Sub-Zero punishes you with a slide?
Let me preface this by saying I am not an MK1 player. I am not an expert on this. I could just tell you from what I've seen as like a more modern player. But from my understanding, I believe Mortal Kombat 1 has player 2 advantage. I could be wrong on this, but I don't think there's like a randomly assigned player advantage at the start of the round, every round like UMK3. I think there is a specific player advantage in Mortal Kombat 1. So if you also don't know, in MK1, pretty much everything besides jab is unsafe. And that's very different from the games like MK2 and UMK3, where if somebody is like glitch jabbing, you could like do a jumping attack and like force them in block stun, or do like a down 3, or do like a sweep if they don't have a punish for it, and you can put them in block stun. In MK1, that is not the case. Almost everything you do in that game is completely unsafe. So if from my understanding, if you are playing a Sub-Zero mirror, whoever has the player advantage is going to win the jab war, and you basically have no recourse for stopping them from jabbing without being unsafe, and they'll just punish you with slide. So that is my understanding of that game. And that's specifically in the Sub-Zero mirror. There might be other characters that can like do other things. They may have like safer moves on block that I'm not aware of. I'm not an MK1 player, but specifically in that Sub-Zero mirror, yeah, I don't think there's much you can do at all.
Wow, so this sounds rough.
Yeah, and real quick, I wanted to make a quick point after what Big said earlier about the whole MK1 community being upset at the MK3 community because that one dude kind of ruined their game. So what Big said about summoning, like I had the utmost respect for summoning for the longest time, for years. Like he was the OG. He was like one of the grandfathers of the community. Whatever. I was very close to him in MK9. Like he was part of the team that was like sponsoring me. Whatever. I also lost a lot of respect for summoning after all the shit that's going on, because he's over here pointing fingers and like claiming that we're all cheating. I know, like whatever you want the definition of him saying cheating, like whatever you want it to be, like whatever. But he's making claims that we're cheating because we're using something that wasn't intended to be in the game. And I want to give Drew a shout out because he made a good point about this on the stream yesterday. Summoning is the same dude who will spam the MK2 death punch.
That is true.
It's
he's very good at it. He's very good at it.
He's very good at it, and he brags about how good he is at it, and he spams it every time. And like with that logic, like how are you going to tell me?
So wait, real quick,
cheating,
Detroit. Before you go into it, can you first explain to the audience and also Dave what is the death punch in MK2? Because a lot of people don't know about that tactic.
I'm not an MK2 player, so I don't know exactly. But all I know is it happened. Like I think
So
it does
if
like it's like an anti-air jab that you land or something like that does like uppercut damage.
Yeah, so
it
it's
does
basically
like 30%.
it's an anti-air jab you land, and if you time it perfectly, it's not easy to do. It does uppercut damage into another high punch, and you get massive damage. You do an anti-air and you convert off it. Let's say and you do like a double death punch into jump kick Superman. That's like 80% right there. Like it's massive damage. It's devastating, and that's also not supposed to be in the game.
That wasn't intended to be in the game. Yet somebody's over here spamming and abusing it. So. Yeah, to me, it's like make it make sense.
Yeah.
Like,
so would you feel like this is a case of people just like certain glitches and stuff, and then people feel like other glitches aren't their preference, or they don't like it, or they think it's not fair? At this point, it's almost like picking and choosing.
I guess it's like whatever's like convenient to them. Like if it's something that they agree with, like they won't complain about it. But if it's something that they have a problem with that they can't stop, like then they'll just like bitch and complain about it.
I 100% agree. I used to have a lot of respect for like people like summoning, you know, my predecessors. I always respect the people that came before me. But yeah, some of the stuff that summoning's saying right now is just like completely scrub mentality. Like you're supposed to be an OG, like a pillar of the community, and you're out here like complaining like a scrub. Like that's crazy. Like you look crazy out here.
He's trying too hard. And he's like, I just want you guys to admit that you guys are using whatever he said, like a cheat or like an exploit or whatever it is. It's like, okay, we are.
And it's like, now what?
Then what?
Yeah, now what? Like, what do you? Okay. I don't see how that statement has any value. Like, okay, we're cheating. Now what? Like, so why did you even say it in the first place? Like, do you feel better now because you lost? Like, because we're so-called cheating? Like, I don't get it.
We're cheating, but so are you. Like, okay, now what?
Yeah, like, okay, cool. Now what? Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel this is kind of a case of maybe bringing it up and like getting it banned from a tournament? Like, you think that's kind of the end result?
I don't think it's policeable. I don't think it's policeable.
Yeah, see, that's how I feel. I feel like to ban glitch jabs, you can't tell. Like, you need to have a coach there standing by to like watch the match and be like, so, wait, was that a block jab or not? Like, it's hard to really police.
Yeah. So there's distinction. So like Shock, for instance, made the distinction between glitch jabbing as like standing in place and doing jabs, and then he would do like the block jabbing while you're run jabbing them. He would call that like Kara jabbing. So I don't know if they specifically have a problem with like standing in place and jabbing, or they just don't like block jabbing in general. Like I'm not understanding that. But I will say there are modded versions of UMK3 where glitch jabbing is removed. No one fucking plays them. They're not popular. You can go on Fightcade right now and you could play TE. No one fucking plays that shit. It's a complete fucking failure. You could play Ultimate Cup with glitch jabs turned off. Nobody fucking plays it. You could play 1.3 with glitch jabs turned off. No one plays this shit. So if you guys like really cared about like all these glitch jabs and stuff like that, why don't you play those versions?
And see, one thing I noticed is when I went to Fightcade a month ago, when I got back into it, I noticed that they had Tournament Edition, which is basically UMK3 modded to fix a lot of the issues that people didn't have with the game at the time it was made. And I was the only person in the room. A lot of people weren't playing it. And the reason why I feel it's the way is because once you remove something like that, you play the game and it plays very differently, and then you start to see other things that are like, wow, I kind of wish I could block jab right here because, example, you're playing against Cabal. He has a spin, unreactable. He can do it at any time. If you're not able to block jab against him or glitch jab, you have to just sit there and duck. Yeah, you have to just sit there and crouch block like a sitting duck, which makes the game feel a lot clunkier and slow and makes it feel like you can't do much. Which in a way, when I remember when me and Jugs were playing, at first we thought it was fun, but then once we started seeing that, like going up against Urmrek, being like, wow, we can't move, just sit here, or Cabal, we were like, you know what? Maybe we should go back to trying UMK3 and look at it a different way, because while TE has some good ideas, this whole meta now, how the game just feels like we cannot move, we're stuck in mud blocking because your opponent may or may not do a fast special, it kind of makes the game feel worse in this way. And that's when we started looking at it in different light. and this was way back in when we were more active. And I think a lot of people that tried it felt the same way. They were like, you know what? Block jabs in a weird way kind of make UMK3 feel more advanced. And the issue with glitch jabbing, like people standing there doing it, I think that's the easiest way to fight glitch jabbing. In my opinion, when you fight someone who masters block jabs and knows how to do it on command when they can, that's kind of when you're playing high level UMK3 and you're playing someone that's really good at it. So I don't understand why like standing there mashing jabs is considered like, I guess as they would say, cheating or the culprit. But then someone who masters and does, as I guess you would put it, kara jabbing or defense jabbing or whatever the terms, like doing it here and there. The way I see it is kara jabbing and defense jabbing, mastering that is better than sitting there glitch jabbing. So that's where I don't really understand.
Well, let me give the modern perspective here, because I was watching some, excuse me, some matches that were uploaded on like a channel like Super, who is very much mainstream, has, I believe, millions of subscribers, if I'm not mistaken. Ultimate as a spectating game kind of does very well aside from those jabs. But even with those jabs, people like the fast gameplay. People like, kind of like a different feel to the game than the modern games. Like the combos are kind of short. Everything's kind of like fast paced, and I think people do appreciate that. So in terms of spectating, I think the game does well. However, there are complaints about its meta and how monotonous and how redundant the jab look. I was watching some matches that Rio linked me to, including matches that feature Detroit Ballin, as well as some scenes in Latin America. I don't know, man. I don't know how you guys do it. To me, some of the arguments you guys have brought up, like what the community likes and dislikes, even not just like outside, like within Ultimate, kind of proves why I believe why the older games are mostly garbage. That doesn't mean you shouldn't start a scene, you shouldn't play them, right? I dislike Third Strike. It was at Evo last year, and there were like thousands of people, right? So, but to me, it kind of proves my point. It's just like, dude, Ultimate within its own community, within its old legacy community, especially if you include Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, they can't even agree what should be allowed, what shouldn't be allowed. They literally trash each other, because, oh my God, he's using a stick I don't like. Oh my God, he's jabbing way too much. It's like, guys, from the outside looking in, why would anybody? First of all, if you guys are that negative, not necessarily like Detroit Ballin or Biggs, like why would anybody want to play your game? Why would anybody want to be part of your community if you can't even agree what the rules are? Not even the rules within the game, but like the rules outside of the game is what stick is allowed and what isn't. It's just, to me, it's just like, yeah, the drama is fun to listen to, but it's just like, what is going on with these people? What is going on with this community? You guys are hating on your own game.
But see, this begs the question, because Ariane made a good point on the last episode we did, is he said there's probably not enough high-level players playing UMK3, not enough people that understand the game to be around. When you look at a game like UMK3 and there's not like, hundreds of top players that are there to, educate people, tell them about the game, and it's almost like a war zone, people saying whatever they want to say. It almost looks like, like what the hell's going on here? People are saying this, people are saying that, how does the game play? It's hard to find that information. So that in a way kind of skews it. Hopefully when this collection comes out and the game grows and a lot more people get drawn into it, we'll have a lot of players that develop over time. And now you have a scene of people that actually like how the game plays. And, there's a lot of knowledge going around and a lot of top players, and it's not like a war zone how it currently is.
Well, Rio, that's why I wanted to talk to Detroit Ballin, whom I haven't talked to in a long time. And obviously it's nice to talk to Biggs and, finally as well. I'm really not interested in, oh my God, is Detroit Ballin a cheater? I know he's not. I know he's a great player. I think this topic is silly. Are people cheating with
but
jabs?
Look. I understand it's not a good topic. However, but we do have to talk about it because it's been the talk for the past month.
No, I understand.
So you kind of have to.
But if you wanna, I'm more interested.
Dave, weren't you calling me a cheater for picking smoke against your Freddy?
Well, obviously.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Dave used to say.
Dave was the first person to accuse me of cheating.
Dave used to say the funniest stuff, like smoke players have no skill, they're cowards. They picked this 100% reset character.
No skill. Like he used to say all the shit about smoke players.
I know, right? Dave used to only play versus me on Injustice 1 on Watchtower. I remember that.
Wow, is this true?
Wow.
Oh my God, Dave!
Yeah.
You were one of those.
I remember that.
You used to choose Za to go to Watchtower. You were one of those players. Oh my God!
I know. I apologize.
This is why we had that rule in Injustice, by the way, for those who don't know, because Watchtower had infinite responding interactables that did 22% unblockable. This is the game we were playing back then. So then we had a rule like, let's do random stage because this is like, no, we're not going to play one stage all the time.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm more interested in which, but all true facts that they mentioned. But I'm more interested in like, hey, like, convince people to play the game. Like, tell them why the game is good. Like, I think those are interesting topics because don't you want people to play your game, right? Don't you want to build your scene? Don't you want people to watch? Don't you want people to attend tournaments? Don't you want people to play online, right? I think these are more interesting topics.
If you want my honest response to that,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't feel the need to because one, I don't owe this community shit because all I've been getting is just like negative backlash since I first started playing this game. Two, it's like why would I want anyone to come and join this community that's doing shit like this? Like, what's the point? You know, like this, I have no drive to continue this community. I can't give a single fuck about this shit anymore. Like, because Tom was like questioning, he's like, why isn't Detroit calling these people out that are saying this, and that? It's like I just don't give a fuck. Like, if you want my honest opinion, I don't give a fuck. Like, I play against who I play, and I have like my friends I play with. Like, I'm cool. Like, I'll show up to whatever event, I'll show up to whatever tournament, and I'll do my thing. And I don't owe this community shit. I just don't. That's just how I feel.
All right, real quick, where in Ohio did you guys hold this tournament? Because obviously it's my state, and I'm curious. It was this like Southern Ohio, like
Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah, I got it. You guys are really. Yeah, I was just curious once you mentioned. No, I completely understand your perspective. I'm just saying if you and I look, man, I'm like you. Like people trash Mortal Kombat 1, not the classic one. It's like, dude, I'm gonna play it because I like it. I don't need anybody. If you guys don't want to play it, I don't give a damn. The game is ranked. I'm having fun. I have my characters, and I understand you in the same position with Ultimate, right? Whether you like.
But here's the thing.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So, like a wise man once said, the era of UMK3 is over. It's time for MK4. So with this collection, I'm pushing 4 to the fullest, bro. Like MK3 is just done. Like I don't care for MK3. I'll still show up to any tournament.
What do you mean?
But fuck
hold
all that.
Hold on.
Fuck all that.
Before that, let me address what Dave has said here. You mentioned like you want us to basically tell something for these new players that have never played UMK3, and you basically want us to basically sell the game to them like it's a good game. What are the good points of it? Is that what you're asking, Dave? That's what I kind of heard from that.
Yes, I mean, don't you want to exactly? Don't you want to promote your game like so more people play it? Isn't that the point of building a scene?
Ooh, I do think there's certainly advantages to doing that. However, I'm going to be the first person to tell you that I don't like UMK3. I play UMK3, but you don't have to like the game. Like I'll be the first person to tell you the game is stupid. Like it doesn't function like a normal fighting game. Like if you play any fighting game like a Street Fighter game, there's some notion of like spacing and like footsies and stuff like that. UMK3 is completely different. It does not have the same type of fundamentals as new games because you basically shouldn't be getting hit by anything because you can jab and block at the same time, right? The game just works fundamentally on a completely different way. It's not for everybody. If you think the game sucks, that's completely fine. Like, if you think the game looks cool and you want to learn it, you can come play. But I'm not going to sit here and defend the game. The game is not defendable, in my opinion. We just so happened to like the game, so we played it. That's it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you like you should play UMK3 like you're going to learn something. Like the game is stupid. Like
I will say this though. Like Biggs does have a point, but for me, like specifically, the reason why I play the game is because I grew up playing this game. Like this is literally my childhood. Like on Sega Genesis, like even back in like the arcade days, like I used to play this game. Like whatever. I will say though, like regardless of all the backlash that the whole block jabs or glitch jabs or whatever you want to call them is getting right now nowadays, the way I look at UMK3 is when I see a high level game where people are out jabbing each other, or it's kind of like a glitch jab battle. To me, that shit is beautiful. That shit is fucking. It's kind of like an art. Like I appreciate someone who could jab really well, because I know that like it's a strategy, it's a tactic, and it's a high level like mechanic that you need to do. You need to implement. Yeah. So if I see that you're a solid jabber, like I have so much respect for you. So people that are pushing this whole like negative like whatever on glitch jabs, like those people, I just look at them like they're just like trash. Like they just suck.
Yeah.
And they
Also,
can't get good at the game.
the game is not easy to play. Like I don't know why people think that you could just pick it up, start block jabbing, and all of a sudden you're really good. You're not. You have to put a lot of time investment to get good at the game. And I'll say this: look, UMK3 is not my favorite game, but I do enjoy it. And to touch on what Big said, one of the aspects that I really like about fighting games is the whole mind game aspect. This is pretty lacking in UMK3 because, as Biggs put it, like there's a lot of fundamental stuff missing. So it's not a mind game sort of fighting game where you could read what someone's going to do and then capitalize it and like instantly combo them. You kind of have to play a certain way. But
With that, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, but I wasn't saying in terms of execution and hard to play. I love that about UMK3 because a lot of fighting games out these days they lack that. They don't have the execution. They don't have the hard skill to play a game like that. So even though UMK3 may not be heavy on mind games or something I enjoy about fighting games, it's very heavy on execution. That's something I appreciate, and that's why I, for example, find the game fun to play.
Yeah, with that point though, I kind of disagree with Biggs as far as like so as far as it not being a traditional fighting game, 100% he's correct. But I do feel like in its own ways, it has the ways to like bait out certain moves to punish certain moves a certain way. Like there's
Oh,
mind
you're
games
100% right. Yeah,
there's definitely mind
there
games.
is
Like
definitely mind games. Yeah,
yeah, 100%. It's not in a traditional fighting game way. That's the only thing that's different about UMK3.
that's very true. I didn't mean to represent it like there's no point of like doing anything. Like in UMK3, you can bait your opponent really bad. You can force them to do things to punish them. It just does not look the same as it does in other games.
Yeah, like example, when you get people to jump in that game and you anti, you can literally win games off that. That to me is hype to see that. Like an anti lead to game wins.
Yeah, or a very common matchup in that game is playing like teleporting ninjas like Human Smoke and Ermac. Basically, the whole goal of that matchup is to get them to teleport and you block the teleport.
Yeah.
And you have to bait them in ways to do that. Yeah.
And seeing stuff like that's very enjoyable to see. When you get them to teleport at the wrong time, you bait it, and then you get a massive combo.
I do
Right.
want to touch upon the execution topic, which by the way we have wanted to do, even a whole episode on with other guests, and we will talk about it in this one, I hope. I'm curious about the glitch apps and what the counter options are. Again, keep in mind you're mostly talking to an ignorant modern player who's been watching a lot, but not so much playing. So when I look at it, I'm like, Reptile looks very good because you can spam the force balls and you'll never almost have to engage. Essentially, guys, from what I've seen, it's like a guile with sonic booms at launch.
They lead to devastating damage, like
I know,
winning.
I'm just like, what is this game? And then I think it's Sonya with the sweep mashing or Zakano. I don't remember. I'm sorry, but like
Both
it
of
was
them,
one
both
of
of them
those.
have good sweeps.
So it's just like, so there seems to be some counterplay, and I'm sure those characters, like those characters might, like Reptile, for example. I know Kung Lao is a bad matchup because you can just, like he can't really anti Kung Lao consistently. So I'm not saying those characters are top tier just because they can do this one thing and they counter jabs. Now they're the best, right? Like, but can you like maybe talk about some characters who counter block jabs slash glitch jabs? Either one of you or both of you would be nice.
I mean, Katana,
I don't-
Melina.
So here's the thing. I don't think you really need a character to counter the glitch jabs. It's really just the fundamental of UMK3. If someone's glitch jabbing, you have to force them into block stun somehow. And some characters, they have options to do that. Like you said, you could play Reptile and maybe throw a force ball or something like that. Or if you're Melina, maybe you could throw a Sai. Or if you're Katana, you could do an instant air fan. But you don't really want to lean on these characters that you think have like answers to that. Because ultimately, every character can play around glitch jabbing. You don't need something special to do it. You just have to put your opponent in block stun. That's the only thing you have to do.
Yeah. And a lot of it is also timing. Like if they're like pressuring you with like the run jabs and everything, it's all about timing it and finding gaps to where if they do like a double jab, it's causing enough pushback for you to be able to stand up and just stand in place and just jab back. That way, if they run into you, they're running into your jab and now they're in block stun. So now you have the offense, right? Going back to the whole MK1 thing I wanted to mention that I didn't get a chance to was when in UMK3, like kind of like what Big said, you want to put the person in block stun some way, somehow. What people can do is like you could always teleport with like Ermac or whatever, or you in MK3, which you can't do in MK1, which is why it's such like a big deal, I guess. you can jump over cross up and do like a jump punch starter into like a combo and just put them in block stun. In MK1, there are no cross ups. Like if you jump over your opponent, you can't turn around and do like a jump over like a jump punch from like a cross up. You have to jump over. Your character needs to turn around. Then you need to like do whatever attack or move you want to do.
And even if you did do the jump attack, it's not safe in that game, anyways.
Yeah. You could literally like jump kick on block. So if someone jump kicks you while you're just standing there glitch jabbing, if they jump kick you, you can literally jump kick anti-air them, like instant jump kick anti-air them while they're still in the air. So yeah, so pretty much to answer your question, like I think the best counter to glitch jabbing is glitch jabbing back. Like it's not necessarily a character. It's just like it's finding the right time and just executing it, properly, I guess.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
if you want to get better at the game, you don't look for specific characters that you think fight glitch jabbing well. Like you have to learn fundamentally what to do to improve as a player.
What to do and when to do it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the advanced strats, like knowing how to stop people glitch jabbing by glitch jabbing at the right time. That's one of the things you learn over playing the game a lot, like through a lot of time. And there's other advanced stuff too with that. But if you're like a beginner learning and you just picked up the game and you're like, well, how do I stop someone from doing this? I guess you could play Katana, you could play Melina, you could play Reptile, you could play one of the fast sweepers, you could play Teleporter.
Like if you're concerned with someone just jabbing stationary, like you could play classic Sub-Zero and do a puddle. You could play Shiva and just teleport them. You could do a lot of stupid shit. Yeah, you could do a lot of stupid shit, but it's not going to work in a real match because standing in place and jabbing is not realistic.
Yeah, that's like the very basic level of glitch jabbing. Glitch jabbing, the people that master it, that know when to use it on command, when they need to, they're mobile with it. They know when they need to do a jab or 2 or 3. That's the high level of the game. When people
that's
master
standing in
it,
place
they get it
shit.
down to a science.
That standing in place glitch jabbing thing, that was a thing back when Arion was winning. Like that shit would not slide.
Yeah,
back,
and that was
like,
also
nowadays.
back during Xbox Live when the netcode.
2010.
That was the netcode. The netcode was also bad back then, so it was hard to lap stuff. And really quickly,
and also,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. And also, I think this whole conversation is predicated on glitch jabbing being like a really like a tactic abused by people when it's really just a fundamental technique for how UMK3 works. And UMK3 is just so different. It's not like you would play Street Fighter and you would see somebody playing footsies and you're like, how do I beat these footsies? Like that's literally the question you're asking, the equivalent in UMK3. You're like, how do I beat these jabs? You've never played UMK3 before, so you don't understand like how ridiculous it sounds. Like when you ask how do you beat glitch jabs, it's literally just like a fundamental basic building block of playing the game.
Yeah, it's like you said, how do I stop someone from doing footsies and Street Fighter? It's like, bro, you gotta like get to a certain level of the game and understand it deeply to even understand the conversation we're about to have. But really quickly, I want to say this, because the whole notion around block jabs and UMK3, what I noticed, it's so bad recently. And I was getting shown clips from people about the things they're saying in some of the comments. And basically, I'm getting demonized because I made videos showing people how to block jab. And these are from people that are, pretty established in the UMK3 scene. Why are certain people feeling the way to say that, Rio's here to cause drama, make the game die? I'm teaching people how to do an advanced strat in the game. Why would you want to wait till this collection comes out and then have everybody discuss block jabs when it becomes a big deal? Why not talk about it now so we get through it and talk about the counterplay, how it works, is it too broken, this and that, get that out of the way first. And what I don't like is people are kind of painting it out to be like, because I'm teaching people how to do this cheap tactic, I want the game to die. No, you should be telling people how the game plays, how it works, how good Cabal is, how good Melina is in this situation, or how this works, or what Cyrus can do here. That's another thing I don't understand. Why are people trying to like gatekeep what's in the game? Like, wouldn't you want to talk about how your game plays at a high level?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think a lot of people, and this isn't just for UMK3, they like to like come up with these fake rule sets for these games to play a game like how they want to play and how a way they think is pleasing to like people who are watching the game and spectators. When they're making all these rules of like what you can and can't do in the game, it's not even the real fucking game anymore. Like, oh, you can't glitch jab now. Oh, you can't do corner traps now. Like, okay, we're not even playing the same game. Like, you've literally made up a new fake version of the game inside your head, and you're forcing everybody to play that version, and it's not even the real fucking version of the game. And I'd rather have people who you teach people how to glitch jab and you tell them exactly what the game is, and they can make the determination for themselves that they want to play it, then misrepresent the game as something that it isn't.
Right. And that's why I don't understand this whole thing of we got to keep it secret. Hush, hush. Don't talk about block jabs. Don't talk about glitch jabs. Just don't talk. Like, it's dumb to brush it under the rug. We should be talking about it. It's how the game plays high level. It's like talking about MKX, not talking about 50-50s. Or talking about MK9 and not talking about 100% resets and stuff like that. Like, it's part of the game at a high level. You should be discussing it. That's how the game is.
Yeah, I think if you were to buy the Legacy collection and you had no idea that glitch jabs existed and you're playing versus someone who's doing it, you would probably quit the game. But if you saw a video like, hey, here's how to glitch jab, you would know what you're getting into before you even started playing.
Exactly.
No, I completely understand the because obviously I don't play the game, but I understand. I think the reference to the footsies in Street Fighter 6 or whatever, any Street Fighter, and you're like, it's part of the game. You can't really beat footsies. It's just, you have to, just have to outplay the other player. That kind of makes sense to me. But as far as like the topic, guys, the reason people are still talking about this and have been talking about this for the past 30 years is because that's a major issue with the game, and you either like it or you don't, right? So that's why it's been an issue, and it's been a hot discussion since then. Since it's essentially since when people figure out how to do it, right?
Right, but it's the fact that we can't have an open talk about it in front of
Yeah,
everybody
I
and
agree,
discuss without being talked like, shh, Rio, keep it hush. You're killing the game. Like, what are you people talking about? We're trying
Just
to show
like
people how the
imagine-
game plays.
Dave, imagine playing MK Deception like Dairud. You know how he has like that pop up and the teleport into like that free throw or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Trust me, I know.
Imagine. Yeah, I know you play Dairud. So imagine people saying you can't do that shit. Like you could play the game, but don't do that shit. That's like an unofficial rule that they came up. Imagine someone playing Boraicho getting the throw in the corner and they're saying you can't OTG me after you're doing this throw in the corner. It's like what are these fucking unofficial rules? Like imagine back in MK9 someone saying you can't do the smoke reset or you can't do the Jax corner 100% combo or whatever. Like
Or
we
spam
had,
cabal
we
and
had
snare
to do that.
fireballs.
we had to deal with some
had to
fucked
say
up
that.
shit and no one complained. What'd you say?
No, I complained.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like we
No,
we
I
dealt with
know, I
it. There was no rule saying you can't do whatever. Like we dealt with it. We got better. We adapted. That's just how it was.
No, absolutely.
Exactly.
There is none of that in this community, and it's like that's why like I don't feel a need to like push the game or do anything or benefit the community because I feel like for what? What's the point?
Yeah, the playing to win
Exactly.
mentality is very low in the UMK3 scene, and I don't understand why it's been like this for a long time. Because you have people trying to like gatekeep and keep things secret, and it's like Detroit said. You mentioned deception. Are you really going to talk about deception and not mention free throws or how this character moves or these 100%? Like that's part of the game. You got to talk about that. You can't keep this stuff secret and gatekeep it. It's almost like these players, and I'm not calling all of them out or saying they're all like this, but it seems like these players kind of want the knowledge for themselves, and they don't want it to be a thing that everybody's doing, because then maybe it would make it so they have a less chance of winning.
I think there's different people are coming at it from different angles. I think like the more casual players on like YouTube, they just don't like glitch jabs and they don't want other people to glitch jab. So that's why they're saying it. I don't think anyone's like gatekeeping glitch jabs. Like people that are using glitch jabs when they play on like Fightcade or whatever, they're not like wanting no one else to know what's going on. I think it's literally just a response from more casual players that do not like glitch jabbing and they don't want other people to do it. But I'll say this, there's a lot of people that are playing UMK3 and they're like clout chasers. Like they literally want to just win. And they, in my opinion, come up with all these fake rules for the game just to make the game easier for them to win in. I'm only interested in one thing when I play UMK3, and that is getting a greater understanding of the game. I want to understand the game, how it's meant to be played with no rules. I want to understand what the strengths of all the characters are at their maximum level, the highest level. And then you have these people from like South America, and these are high level players on Fightcade. They will quit on you when you trap them in the corner. Like, since when has that been acceptable? I don't understand how these people claim to be the best at UMK3 in South America and Russia, and they don't trap people. Like, are you kidding me? Are you really kidding? How are you the best when you come up with these fake rules and you're not even playing the real game?
Yeah, and they also have character bans. If you want to talk about like Russia, how you can only play a certain character a certain amount of times.
Exactly. I used to respect Russia so much.
Yeah, but can you explain that real quick? How the character bans work in UMK3?
So let me preface this by saying I used to respect Russia so much. When, let's say, like before COVID or like around the start of COVID, that time period, Russia was like one of the few places in the world that played UMK3 as is, no rules. Even in America, there's rules when you go to tournaments. I don't agree with these rules, but I go to the tournament, you have to follow the rules set by the tournament organizer. So there's rules in America. If you don't know, in UMK3, there's a universal like jab trap infinite in the corner. And basically, if you get caught standing in the corner, you get block infinited, pretty much. And there's basically two types of these block infinites. One, you do like a slow jab, and the other one, you have to do like a double jab and cancel it. And it requires a little bit more effort and execution to do. So in America, they've banned like the easy slow jab one. But Russia was one of the few places in the world that played as is with no rules. And I used to respect them so much because they did whatever it took to win. They did every technique in the game. They played cheap as hell. They were literally playing the game at the highest level. Then I think Russia, people got so disillusioned with the game, having like all these infinites and like traps. Because basically when they started playing online, only the really good players knew how to do that. And then as time went on, all the like so-called lesser players started doing that to top players, and they were like, oh, this game sucks now, or hey, this game is not great for viewership anymore. The viewers don't like what I'm seeing. So then they started coming up with these rules. Oh, you can't pick the top 4 characters anymore. You can't pick Cabal, Human Smoke, Ermac, or Nightwolf anymore because it's going to beat them every game and the viewers don't like it. Like, are you serious? You can't trap people anymore. Okay, like
That literally
you
makes
can't do
Molina and
infinites
Sindel the
anymore. That's what I'm saying. You're just instituting these arbitrary rules for viewership, and it's like, dude, you're not even playing the same game. We've strayed so far from what the game originally was with all these rules and these fake versions of the fucking game. We're not even playing the same game anymore. And for what? Like the viewers, they're not fucking playing. They're watching. And this same thing has happened in other games before, not UMK3. I think of Melee all the time, dude. I remember if you look at like old school Melee, Smash
Ice
Brothers Melee
Climbers.
is what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Well, even before that, even if like MLG, bro,
Yeah,
they used to play on like
ledges.
they used to play on certain stages. The stages are not in the game anymore. You can't play on them in tournaments.
There's only 5 of them.
Okay,
now.
then they came out with the Ice Climbers. They had this infinite called wobbling. You can't even do that anymore.
Yeah. Also, you can't ledge stall as much as some characters.
That's what I'm saying. Hungry Box was winning too many tournaments with Jigglypuff, so they made a ledge grab limit. So I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're making all these fake rules. You're not even playing the same fucking version of the game. Like, this shit is fraudulent. It's completely fraudulent. And these players, these so-called top players in Russia and especially South America, there's a lot of fucking frauds there that literally will just quit and they'll bitch at you when you trap them in the corner. Okay, why'd you get fucking cornered, dude? Why did you block high in the corner? That's your fucking fault. Like, are you kidding me? You guys are fucking scrubs. Like, real shit.
And see, I don't know how this started because I remember, like, even the South Americans, they used to play without rails. They used to do infinites and stuff. But then recently, like, over the past 10 years or at some point, a lot of areas, like you said, it was either Russia or South America, they started introducing rules to make the game seem more fair. At that point, where do you draw the line? Like, I mean, you're banning characters. If you ban all those characters, then now all of a sudden, Molina and Sindel are the best. Now everyone's going to pick them. Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose trying to balance the game? People are just tier whoring the new top tiers.
It's funny, all this discussion with Rio over such a long time about, modern games, old games, yet listening to you guys discuss everything just right now, it perfectly explains why modern games are they are. You guys mentioned spectatorship, right? Not that you're necessarily promoting it or stressing its importance, but yes, if I'm working on a game and they're paying me money, yeah, I want the game to be presentable. I want people to watch my game. Like, you know what? That's something I want to buy. That's something
right.
I
But Dave, it's not fair to compare new games to old ones because new games get constantly patched. Older games, you kind of got what you had. There was no patches.
That's the thing. That's why those games are bad. Like,
And
that's why
I'm gonna stop you there, Dave, because it's not the developers that are trying to make the game look good here. It's the players.
Yeah, it's also the players.
The people. They're trying to misrepresent the game, and that's what I have a problem with. If the game fucking sucks, it sucks. Like, don't try to fucking make up these rules to change the game. Like, the game is what it is. Accept it. If you accept the game for all its flaws, you will come out a better player. All these other people, they're all fucking scrubs, and they come up with these fake rules, and they can't fucking win shit because they're complete scrubs.
And what's funny
big-
is in Deception, when I was playing, I used to noob smoke infinite people, and I got thrashed back then. Got called as trash scrub player. To be fair, yes, the game was scrubbing stuff. I was never defending the game, but bro, like when a game is a certain way, it comes to a point where depending on how many rules you put into it, it no longer is the game you're trying to play. It's like this whole other side project. But
That's my argument.
yeah, but Dave, but the thing is, some players these days, it goes as far as what's dumb or not. Like some players literally want zoning removed. They want command grab catch room. They want like where do you draw the line?
No, I understand that, but you draw the line by how about not having obvious glitches that were never meant to be in the game? Like this is why, again, to me, this is so comical to play these older games because you think, especially these people, many of which not in this call, but like, and they blow me up in the comments. Oh, we like strong power levels. We like archetypes. Dude, I will make you quit MK9 in 2 days. Stop saying stuff like that. People saw what I did with Freddy. You really think these people, especially in the comments, these guys type, M2 Dave, he's so rude. He's an antagonist. I'll make you quit the game in 2 days. No, you're asking for stuff you don't actually want. Because when it's in the game, you are the first person to complain about it. Whether it's in ranked or if you're a tournament player. Zoning, there's a reason why it's nerfed. And it's nerfed because of people who, whether it's in Russia, or Brazil, or Mexico, whatever, anywhere else in the world for that matter, that's because people have certain views of it. And it's not presentable to watch sometimes and makes people rage. And for anybody, for some of these hypocrites to make the argument otherwise, it's just literally, it's inauthentic, it's dishonest, it's insincere. That's the reason why modern games play the way they are. It's because guess what? Many people claim, oh, we want this. And when you give it to them, they're the first people to complain. The first ones to complain. Because they're like, oh my God, I lost to somebody in rank who I thought I was better than. I got my ass kicked. Yes, that's what happens. Like, and deal with it.
Right, and I want to say this real quick. So it's true, the modern games are made with better intent and to look better for viewers. But one of the charms of the older games that gets overlooked is a lot of the older games, I'm not saying they're perfect, but they possess things in those games or playstyles or tactics that are removed in all these modern games. So when you play some of the older games, you get to appreciate and see things and be like, wow, fighting games used to play like this, or they used to have this element that's no longer present because, it got removed because either how people feel or developers feel. And that's one of the cool charms about some of the older games is you can go back and play how some of these fighting games played at the time that you can't really get out of any of the newer games.
Well, I think it depends on the game, and I think certain games are more original than the other ones. Ultimate seems more original, but I don't see what's original about Third Strike or Marvel. I think those games are very much broken. And again, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't play them. You shouldn't start a scene. Of course you should, right? I just want to get that out of the way because people have accused me of being too negative, demonizing scenes. No, you like a game, you should play it. I don't like Third Strike. That doesn't mean the 1,000 players last year, wouldn't show up and play the game. They did, and it's good for the scene, right? But I do want to talk about execution because that's something that's mentioned probably the most in the older games. So, Detroit Ball, and I want to ask you because you played MK9, which is generally considered to be like one of the more execution heavier games, right? In terms of NRS games only, how does it compare to Ultimate?
It's. I mean, as far as MK9 goes, I feel like there's so much more depth to the game, so it's kind of hard to compare them. But I feel like
Depth in
playing
terms
it-
of
Yeah,
what?
no, Dave's talking about doing inputs, like hard to do stuff. UMK3 is a lot harder than MK9.
yeah. MK3 is it's a lot more strict because MK9 you had stuff like negative edge,
Buffering.
you could use to your advantage, buffering, yeah, you could do all that
Like,
stuff.
like
So
for
as far
example,
as raw
Cabal's air
input-
fireballs. Explain that, Detroit. Cabal's air fireballs and MK9, how much easier they are to UMK3.
Yeah, it's like night and day pretty much with Cabal and MK9 versus Cabal and UMK3 as far as incinerators go. But I think as far as like executing at the highest level in this game, like Sindel's flight cancel inputs or even like glitch and like the way I do it, I kind of like overdo it with my glitch jabs. I do feel like there's less room for error with the older games. So it's in my opinion, as far as in that sense, I do feel like it's kind of harder in the classics rather than MK9 or like the newer MKs. But yeah, what's your take on it, Biggs? What do you think?
You're talking about MK9 versus UMK3, the execution?
Or the
Yeah,
current
yeah.
modern games, the current modern NRS
don't have-
games.
Yeah, you don't have to use MK9 as the basis for anything, but like maybe any modern game that you might have played. How do you compare it to like Ultimate or even some of the other legacy Mortal Kombat games in terms of execution?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think UMK3 is particularly that hard, like for execution. I played a lot of games, and I have very high execution in every game I play. Um, I don't think Ultimate has like particularly like super high execution compared to some other games. I think the hardest classic MK game execution wise is MK4, like easily. Like
Wait,
Yeah, by far.
significantly harder.
Wait, hold on, Biggs. Dave is not talking about fighting games in general. He's talking about the current NRS games from MK9 up to games like UMK3 and the classics.
Okay,
I
so
thought he answered,
I
I thought
don't.
he answered the question. No, go ahead.
No,
I
real
think-
quick, Biggs. I think what they're saying is like comparing Cabals and Snares in MK3 versus MK9. Like which one's harder?
Well, it's
Like,
obviously the MK3 one is harder to input.
Yeah, but is that kind of what you guys are asking, Dave and Rio?
Well, we're not talking about fighting games in general. Like, we're not talking about Third Strike or Marvel or Guilty Gear, any of that. We're talking about just the current NRS games, MK9 to MK1, versus some games, older ones like UMK3. Which games are harder to play in terms of like doing not mind games or depth?
in terms
but
of the
doing,
execution.
yes, exactly.
So I'll say this: execution is different for every game. Some games, the execution is about how much APM you have, like how many buttons you can press on with your right hand. And then other games like Tekken, it's like your movement is the execution. I think in newer games, they have higher execution on the sort of like movement and timing side, like doing links and things like that. Compared to the older games, I feel like the execution is more like APM based on like UMK3. You're always jabbing, you're always glitch jabbing, you're moving around, you're canceling all your attacks and stuff like that. Whereas like in MK9, it can be more so timing based, and that element is kind of missing from like UMK3's gameplay. But I will generally say there are harder characters in UMK3 than there are in these newer NRS games like MK9, MKX, MK1, etc. There is a lot more difficult characters in UMK3.
Yeah, and I just want to say this before I let the next person go. So I made a video addressing combos being too long a month ago, comparing, and I noticed in the comments, and it had me looking. I was like, wow, you know what? A lot of people kind of right now. There's a lot of new faces, new players that grew up playing NRS games. They never got to play older games, and I think for those players that try some of these older games, like UMK3, when it's out in a week, they're gonna realize like, wow, how is this 5 second, 7 second combo harder to do than this 20 and 30 second combo in MK1? It doesn't make any sense, because in the comments I saw people saying like, Rio, you don't know what you're talking about. Those old combos look so easy. You did it in like literally 6 seconds. That's not hard. And then they're posting like Sonic Fox doing like 40 second scream combos, going like, look how long this is, how much you have to do. The thing is, they're misunderstanding, and I feel like when they finally get to play these games, they're going to see like, wow, how is this 6 second combo in UMK3 so much harder at the time and land than this 30 second combo in a new game? It's almost like you have to kind of experience for yourself to see it.
I feel like in modern games, the execution is just different, right? It's not so much about, whether you can do, like Biggs perfectly said, it's not so much, can you, when you play Super Turbo, right? The inputs are very strict. I mean, it's almost like when you go back to it and you're modern Street Fighter 6, it's almost like comics, like, dude, why is my Dragon Punch coming out, right? Because it's so strict. If I remember correctly, there's no like, any shortcuts, you want to do an SPD, right? It's
Older games are much more unforgiving with the inputs. Yeah.
exactly. But it's Street Fighter 6 like still has execution. It's just like you said, it's just different, right? It's more like timing based. Can you do these long combos for a longer time without dropping your inputs, right? It's just different. It's not necessarily real. The reason I mention this stuff is because some people like to, to use a young generations, word. It's just they like to glaze these old games about, oh my god, execution when they existed back in the day. I was like, no, I actually don't know. Like I think it's just different. Now, yes, strictly input speaking, yes, definitely the older games, they have an edge. There's no question about that. But I think execution has just kind of quote unquote just grown up, right? The way I see it. Ryu, do you feel the same way, or am I misrepresenting?
I mean, it really depends. Like, I agree. The whole having to time stuff, like in MKX, doing some of the run cancels wasn't necessarily hard to input and do. It was more so because of how the game worked and the clunky feeling of doing strings and stuff. You kind of had to know the timing on when to link it properly rather than doing as fast as you could, right, with the speed. So the execution, yeah, there is that in the newer games. It's just done differently than how we used to see it back in older games. We had to do things like on either the frame or extremely quick.
I do think though newer games are significantly easier in terms of execution than older ones. I think that statement's true in general.
Yeah, I agree with that, right? Because again, the inputs back in the day were a lot stricter because there was no such thing as, input shortcut or any of this other, like nonsense that we see nowadays. So I do think it's you're right in that respect. But again, I do think execution is just different, right? Like it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It's just, it's been simplified, but it still
Definitely
exists in
easier.
different, yeah, but it still exists in different ways.
Yeah, but I
Go
mean,
ahead.
like,
I agree with that. Yeah.
but like, there's some crazy stuff in older games. Like, example, you're playing like Cabal, trying to ensnare Fireball. That takes a lot of effort to do. Like, it's not just to pick up and do stuff, kind of like you can in MK9. Even other games like Third Strike, you try playing Q, and you're trying to do his Terra command grab off a certain normal. It's like you got to input all that very quick. The stuff is not like super easy to pick up and play. I'm not saying
Well,
all of
that's
it's hard, but there's some stuff that's just like damn, like you got to really sit down there and practice this to get it out.
Well, that's another thing that's silly, right? Is Q, who's a low tier character, requires all this work for what? When you can just pick Chun-Li and like this is another aspect that a lot of our audience blows me up for. When I talk about balance, I'm not just talking about how strong characters are, right? I'm talking about like just balance in terms of like if I put in this work, what is my reward? So with Q, I have to do all these inputs, right? Many other low tier characters in many other old, previous generation fighting games to do what? So somebody can pick a top tier and ignore 85% of the characters on the screen. Like it's execution. Sometimes just because something execution doesn't mean it's done right. Sometimes it's just done completely wrong because it's tied to something, that shouldn't even take a lot of execution because characters are done very good overall.
I think I think in general for newer fighting games, there's been a shift from people actually liking execution. I think for older games, people would justify characters being more powerful if they required more execution. Whereas in newer times, specifically since like Street Fighter V time period onwards, I think that execution being a justification for being how strong a character is has left like a bad taste in people's mouth, and they don't really like that anymore. So I think the newer games have shifted from even having like execution barriers on characters in general. Now, you spoke on like Q being like higher execution in Third Strike, blah blah blah. I think that's a bad example.
No,
I would totally
talking
look
about
at
one of his moves. No, I'm not saying he's the hardest player. I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about one of the
I
character.
understand that, but I'm saying like when I think of the execution in Third Strike, you're completely right. Chun-Li is very easy.
Yeah,
Execution.
but wait a minute.
wise, for
She's
the
still
most part.
harder to play though than some of these newer characters in games. Like people think she's just pick up and play easy.
For
brain.
sure, for sure. But I'm saying in the context of Third Strike, when I think of execution, making a character good, I think of Yun immediately. Whereas like you don't even have to be good at that game; you get rewarded for the execution on that character. That is like the complete, like of what I'm trying to convey. That is like the argument where execution can justify like characters being ridiculous, and that was like a common thing in older games, whereas like in newer games I don't think modern players really like that.
It's so weird to me because even Melee with Fox same way. I feel like that's one of the things I don't like about the modern games. I'm not saying they're bad, but I don't like how now you can pick up some of these top tiers in whatever current modern game it is, and it's like they don't even require a ton of execution or work, like you were saying, with Third Strike. I feel like one thing I would like to see them bring back to modern games is stuff like that. That was cool to see when some of the top tiers you had to put a lot of effort in to be able to play them properly. You couldn't just pick up and play them and learn a few B&Bs, and now you're all of a sudden a threat with the character.
But I think it depends on depends on the game. When I look back at Tekken, I think even like Tekken 5.0 with like Steve.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying if you master a character, they have to A2 everybody now. That's just bad design. But I'm saying like whoever the current best character is right now in whatever game, they should probably require the most work. Otherwise, it's kind of like, I just don't like that design where whatever character's top tier is easy to play.
But like, keep in mind, you're mostly talking about games who never had any design in the first place. There was no like, oh, this is how we wanted the game to play. You think Ultimate was
right? But sometimes they do things good by accident. Like that's just how it is. So they should kind of take the stuff that they did that was good by accident and expand on it and bring it back instead of just dismissing it and removing it.
The reason I to use your word dismiss this argument is because like who's actually winning in modern games, or even in the older games for that matter, with like, oh my god, he's winning because this character is easy to use. Like most people are winning, essentially not most, almost all of them. I can maybe think of one or two examples. Like I'm sure you guys would agree with we referenced Injustice 1 earlier, right? And the fraudulent way, you pick a stupid character and then you just throw unblockables at them, right? And I'm sure at some point somebody got a top 8 and they shouldn't have, or you could even say me with Freddy, whatever. Depends how far you want to take the example. But the point is, most people who are winning, essentially all of them, they're winning because they're great players, right? Detroit Ball isn't winning because like he's abusing Cabal or he's using a stick that's illegitimate. He's winning because he's a great player. Like that's it. And I think it kind of goes. Again, it begs the argument, which is if it's so easy, there aren't other people
Dave,
winning.
you're missing the point. I'm not saying that these new games are so easy to play that you can pick up any top tier and all of a sudden win a tournament. You're missing the point. What I'm saying is it'd be better if the current games, whatever the top tier characters are, require a lot of work. Like you're going to tell me Tanya was hard to play in MKX? Are you joking? She was good. You're going to tell me Joker was hard to play in MK11? That Havoc's hard to play currently in MK1. These are easy to play characters. And I'm not saying you can win a tournament with them if you pick them up, but I'm saying they're just easy to do their game plan with. If you're good at the game, you'll do well with them.
Every game has an easy top tier character, right?
Right, but we're not talking about if it's there for every game or not. I'm saying in the future of fighting games, it'd be nice if they can, bring back where you want to play top tiers. These characters are going to require you to invest the most time to use them properly. That's how it should be.
It's a flawed design because Street Fighter 6 kind of has that, right? You have like you have JP, right? Who's in modern is kind of like difficult to use, right? You have to know the zoning, you have to know the setups, you have to know all the stuff, and then you have like a Honda who just wants to spam headbutts and butt slams, right? And he is low tier. JP is one of the best characters in the game. Well, what does that do? Well, it creates bad matchups. It creates an spectating experience that's kind of boring. Like how many times do you see a Honda?
Okay, but no one's saying a Honda has to be super easy to play and be low tier. Like that. I mean, that's also a bit boring.
Well, I mean, you have to have easy to use characters because that's how you people learn the game, right? They're not going to start with JP and do 3 or 4 different spikes and do all these setups and play all these footsies, with very different attacks and different special moves, place them at the right time, right? They can't do that. Obviously, the fighting games at every point in their history are designed to sell, right? So you have to design certain characters. So if I'm new, I'm trying to learn your game, like, okay, let me start with Honda, right? And then kind of move my way up. Isn't that really how it works?
Right, but the way I'm seeing it is, I don't mind some characters being easier to play, but if the foundation is strong, let's take Tekken for example, you have to know how to do certain things, you have to know how to cream backdash, do all this stuff, and that applies to every character in the game. At the very least, in that sense, or like Melee, how when you play Melee, it doesn't matter what character you're playing, you have to learn all this advanced stuff, like wave dashing, ledge cancels, all this stuff, you apply to everybody. Then in that sense, okay, you can have certain low-tier characters, but at least they have to understand the foundation. Like the foundation is very hard to play. That's another way you also can do it.
But you just mentioned Melee, which was complained about, and you also mentioned Tekken, which is also massively complained about. That's the point I've been trying to get people to understand this. Like, it's a matter of preference, and most people will get salty when they lose.
I don't see how making a game easier to play for everybody is the solution here. It just makes the game feel more boring. Don't you want people to feel like satisfied when they learn stuff? Feel like they're rewarded when they get something down?
That you gave me, and a lot of people are complaining about those games, right?
Maybe fighting games aren't for them. Then I don't know. Like if you want your fighting game to be super easy to play and simple, then maybe I don't know. Maybe you should be playing it competitively.
Play a beat 'em up.
Even if it's hard to, even if it's hard to use, right? Like in again within its game speaking, right? Like Mortal Kombat 9, right? Kabbalah is one of the most difficult to use characters in the game. People hated him, right? Because he was so strong. So to me, a lot of this, what's difficult, what's not, essentially has no meaning, right? I'm not saying I want like a death shot, just wrist shot, that is boring indeed. But I think it's a more nuanced conversation, which is what I'm getting at.
Right, but one of the flaws the new games do, in my opinion, is they create a game and then they kind of make it so all the competitive tournament players that are going to play it are going to be in the same field of group as all the casuals that are going to play it. That means the entire game from the ground up is designed in every single mode you touch to be for casual and competitive. I think that's the wrong way to do it. I think what they should do going forward, at least NRS, is they should make sure the tournament competitive mode makes everything harder to play in the way you need to invest time. And every other aspect of the game, you want to play in story mode, single player, friends, whatever, you can play the simple version. You press buttons, you do supers, strings, big combos, all that. But I feel like you need to separate it because the tournament players, the competitive players need to have something to practice, learn, and do. Like, it's not fun to play some of these newer games and have to barely go to training mode because there's no reason to. So you just do Combat League all day. Because what is there to practice, really?
I think you have a point. I just beg to differ in the sense that not everything has to be about button presses. Not that you're
Well,
insinuating.
I'm not saying make everybody play like Yun from Third Strike and make everybody play like Fox from Melee, where you have to dedicate a decade of your life to executing everything perfectly. And if you drop any of that in tournament, you lose. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But there should be more effort put into that.
But speaking of, like, again, we have referenced MK9 a lot of times. Like, over the summer when, what was it, 2012, when I got that top 8 and Detroit Bowling kicked my ass, it counterpicked me at the tournament. But I was just telling Master D, my cousin, right? Like, I'll throw this projectile, jump at different ranges. Let me see if I can react, right? That's literally what I practice. It's not like button press and execution per se, right? But in other sense, it is. And I would like to widen the execution definition, right? Because I think it's been misconstrued and mal-defined, if you will, in many ways. Like, if you want, just say I want to have button presses. Like, that's okay. Like, I think that has a place. But I don't think that should, not saying that Rio's saying that, but like a lot of other, like, the old school players, that's kind of what they are insinuating. And I don't think that's right.
I mean, Kim, how do you feel about this regarding like the newer games? Like, do you think having games be hard to play is a good thing for the game, or do you think they should just make games easier to play because it's better for people to get into the game like that?
I don't know. I've always had like the take of no matter what they do, like put in the game or whatever, as long as there's like like graphics are good and you have like some, like cool cutscenes and shit, like casuals, no matter how easy you make the game, are all gonna fade off as soon as they buy it. Like, they're gonna buy it, mash with their friends, they're gonna see the combo teacher or whatever. They'll learn like the first one and be like, okay, sick. Not because they don't have like an attention span to like sit there and learn combos, no matter how easy you make them. So
Yes.
I just think that that's a bad way of going about it because it's just like no matter how hard you make the combos, like the same amount of people probably will play that are playing to play for, like semi-competitive or.
Yeah, and that's why I feel making everything easier and straightforward to do in the hopes of, now casuals are going to play for years.
Yeah,
is not the right.
Exactly, because it doesn't work like that.
But you guys are again typical, like, FGC bubble. Yes, play. How about buy? That's the key. That's the whole point.
No. I get what you're saying. Like,
Yeah,
but
even if
I'm saying just like as far as like longevity, like after they buy it, to see like like is it worth it, to like keep it up, or like the online and shit, like you can tell people don't invest shit into games that aren't played.
No, absolutely. But if you want your game supported for like a long term, right? No matter what the game
You have to have a
is.
strong community. Period.
True, but you also have to have resources. You need to have people buying your game. So when the online needs improvement, because a lot of this stuff costs money, real quick, I will not reference the name because it was a private conversation. Like, remember when they overhauled Mortal Kombat Access Online? I heard that cost like millions of dollars, right? Because resources, you have to pay people, obviously, right? Like, you have to do all this stuff, et cetera, et cetera. They cost money, but the only way that was possible is because people need to buy a product. Otherwise, well, guess what? MK1, obviously not the classic one, stuff gets cut, and people have to move on to other projects. So I'm just saying, even just like if you're an elite, not saying anybody here, but like if you have an elitist perspective, you want your games bought because you want that support, you want improvements, you want more content, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of what I'm trying to get people to understand.
So I agree with everything you're saying except for this like actually being a scenario that happens. Like, I feel like everyone that buys the game is not buying because they heard the combos are a little difficult or they have like strict timings on anything or anything like that. Nobody's like, oh well, damn dude, don't pick that game up. I don't think we should get that one because I heard like a couple combos are pretty hard in there. that's just like not how it works. Like they're gonna see graphics and shit, and everyone's gonna buy like due to aesthetics and the hype. Like they're not even like caring about like the actual like combo mechanics and all that stuff.
I agree, but I think when people want to learn a game, they need to have a, like when they're actually trying to learn, you need to have, just again, quick silly example. If you're a new player, you don't want to start with Cabal MK9, right? Yes, you guys have been playing for a long ass time. Yeah, it's fine for you, but like if
No, I
I
understand. Yeah.
if I have a kid, like whatever, he's 18, I'm like, yeah, try
Mhm.
this game. Like I wouldn't like do obviously don't use Cabal. Don't use a Mishima and Tekken. That's insane. You'll never play. Like they're just gonna get an ass kicked over and over again, right? It's just not the character. Like use I don't know.
But
Use
use it
Kid.
like right that example right there was kind of like goes like with Rio's point of like a good character being hard to play, I guess. Like just because I'm not like I guess I'll just use Cabal for example. Like Cabal, if you take away his dash canceling, I remember like there used to be like people like just nerf the dash cancel or whatever, but everyone knows like Cabal's strings and shit without that are the ugliest shit in that game. Like his like I don't know, like it just doesn't work. Like his toolkit doesn't work without like nomad dash cancels. Like every string is just trash, slow.
He
It
only has one
ends.
good string, basically.
Yeah, it ends literally. Like you could do like the Scorpion 1-1-1 pressure if you want, maybe I don't know, but like all of his strings just don't do anything. Like in neutral without like using a nomad dash.
No, I agree. Well, let's have either Biggs or Detroit Ball, and I know you have kind of already weighed in, but do you wanna uh give your two
Um,
cents on this topic some more?
yeah, I think the so I have several thoughts on this. Um, I think what a lot of people don't like with execution getting easier is there were games in the past. Let's say like if I played Street Fighter 4 and that game had some difficult execution here and there, and then you go to Street Fighter 5 and they make such like a drastic change in the execution. I think that's specifically what people have a problem with. I don't think people dislike when a new game comes out and it happens to be easy. Like Grand Blue came out, or even if we take it a step back further, we went from Guilty Gear to Blaze Blue. Blaze Blue was seen as the scrub, like easy game. And people had no problem with it because it was a completely different game. But when you go from a game that had like harder execution and then the new version they completely just like dumb it down, I think that pisses people off. I understand why people do it. They want It's not about the casuals. The whole execution thing is not about like getting more casual players to buy the game. It's completely about controlling the competitive scene in the sense that they can have more or a larger amount of new competitive players because the game is easier to play at a higher level. So that's why when you see Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 6, they got a whole bunch of new players that never played Street Fighter before, and the games are easier. And I understand why the developers will do that because they want more competitive players. I'm not gonna sit here and say like one way of dumbing the game down to get more players is like the correct way to go, or like I prefer when things were harder. I don't think there's like a clear cut answer on that. But I think people really just have a problem with the change of execution in a game from like the previous game to the next game. And also, I think there's a real big problem with competitive players. Um, their perception of how good their opponent is when they like lose to them based on how much effort it requires. So like if I'm playing MK9 and I lose to a Kenshi and this motherfucker's just spamming like back forward 2, I'm like, dude, this guy's a complete fucking scrub. Like he's not even good. He's fucking carried, you know? Whereas if you lose to like Cabal, you can say like Cabal's fucking broken, but you're not going to sit there and say that shit didn't require effort. Like he's actually doing something to beat you. And I think I think that kind of speaks to what I believe Rio's trying to say. He's not really saying it like outright, but he doesn't want to like lose to people and feel like he got like potatoed out. I think that's what that is.
Yeah, not only that, but I also don't want to play a top tier character that is easy to play and pick up. That's also not fun.
Yeah, literally Kenshi.
Detroit Ball, and what do you stand?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of stepped out for a couple minutes, so I kind of
Yeah.
missed what the question was. So
Well, it's like, where do you stand on,
Yeah, like, do
the
you prefer
general-
top tier characters to require effort, to need like a lot of skill to play them, or do you rather than just be easy to pick up to play and it doesn't really matter how hard they are to play?
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, I feel like if a top tier player is just easy to pick up, then it would be just Kenshi's all over the place. But I feel like Kenshi kind of came late into MK9 and wasn't really seen as much as he should have been, just because of how easy he was. But yeah, 100%. I'd rather have a top tier be hard to use and require high execution. That's kind of like why I like Cabal so much in MK9 was he's arguably the best character in the game, but you can't just pick him up and expect to be good and expect to like win just like off like a day 2 Cabal or something like that. You need to actually like put the time in, learn the execution, get the cancels down. 100%. Yeah, I'd rather have a top tier character be high execution than not.
Should all characters be like that, like a ball? Like, like again, within each game, not necessarily, like
They should all
being-
require execution, but differently. Like some characters could be cancel based, some characters could be timing based, some characters can be you have to position yourself, some characters could be they have extra resources you have to manage. There's a lot of ways you could do it.
I don't agree with that, but I think we're like super far off topic too, by the way.
So real quick, I want to get back into UMK3, and this is for Biggs and also Detroit. And I want to ask, who do you guys think is going to be a huge threat that's going to return to UMK3? Because there's some really good players in the past he used to play with, like Juggernaut, No Doubt, and a few others have said that they're going to be returning. How do you guys think you would fare against some of the old school legends, like No Doubt?
You
What's
said
opinion on
Juggernaut,
them?
no doubt. That's funny. I think
Juggernaut used to be
Biggs is
good.
the only one. Biggs is the only one that I'm worried about, and nobody else.
Not even No Doubt, because No Doubt won a lot
hell,
of tournaments for UMK3.
Yeah,
MK
yeah.
Grandmaster Brady. That's all I'm gonna say.
Shit, if Tom
Tom.
comes back, I want to run the MK4.
Dave,
As
Tom
far
said
as
he's-
MK3 goes, yeah, it's just Biggs. Nobody else.
Tom's not gonna play, man. Trust me. I would be shocked. I don't
Yeah,
think he'll even
Tom said he's not playing because he's not a fan of the 2D MKs and he doesn't like glitch apps. But so okay, that's interesting. So you feel that No Doubt wouldn't be able to give you a challenge?
Hell no, what the fuck? So, okay, I want to make a point real quick because No Doubt's been throwing shit at me for years now. So, in that episode with No Doubt, he says something about me using a keyboard as like something like me being on a motorcycle in a bike race or something. What did he say? Something like that, right?
I believe he said playing on a keyboard against other people that are playing on sticker or controller is kind of like bringing a motorcycle to a bike race. Like it's going to be very hard to win on a bike.
So all these like analogies are they're just like extremely cringe to me because especially this one, it kind of oversimplifies what's really going on. So what's really going on is No Doubt is just he's essentially just mad that he's no longer like America's best player, and he literally proved me right by saying, he said something like, "I wish I would have been appreciated or recognized that I won all those 10 tournaments, blah blah blah, whatever the fuck he said." But he was like he's salty that people weren't like appreciating or recognizing like his like accomplishments or whatever. The truth is you were only able to win that many tournaments because people like myself weren't around. People like Biggs weren't around. Biggs probably came like late, but he wasn't as nearly as good as he is now. And I don't mean to stroke my own ego when I say this, but I genuinely think Arion just sucks at the game. Like he has this like weird playstyle where he'll never adapt. And you could be blowing up, you could be punishing his katana like kicksteering with Cabal every single time, and he'll still keep going back to that. Like he will not adapt. He won't learn from his mistakes. He'll just play like a scripted way. He'll just do like what he wants to do, and nothing else matters. So another thing I was upset about was he's been throwing all this shade at me on like Fightcade, online, all these discords that we're in. Like you had no reason not to take the 1.5-hour flight to go to CKK this year. Like you literally Mitsu bitched out, bro. Like you knew I was going. You had every opportunity, as I did, to go, and you didn't. Like I think what it was, you didn't want me to ruin your reputation, so you kind of took the easy way out. And like you claim you're not competitive anymore. Like that's not by choice, bro. Like that shit wasn't by choice. Like that was like on me and people like me and Biggs. Like this shit is our game now, bro. That's all I have to say about this.
Yeah, a little Mitsubishi. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is what it is, bro. It is what it is.
That's crazy.
Like
I don't know if there's any old player that I think is gonna be like good. So like I think there's people that don't really play anymore that are really good. Like for example, I think Hanzo is really good, and I don't think he's like very active. I would like to see him play again. Even some players like Speed and stuff like that. I think Speed used to be much more active than he is now. I would like to see him play more. But on like the Arion thing, Arion did win a lot of tournaments in the past. I think the sole reason why Arion won all those tournaments before was he was a better jabber than all the other players at the time, and he was able to kind of like steamroll them just off the jabs. Um, and I think that's indicative of him picking like Katana in the past, you know, and just steamrolling people with Katana's jabs and stuff like that. I don't think Arion is able to win the same way today at all. Like if and I think Arion knows this, and that's one of the reasons why he never even plays Katana anymore in tournaments. He'll just pick Nightwolf, some easy scrub shit, you know. But like literally, I do think there's truth to what Detroit Ball's saying. I think Arion's ducking, like honestly, at tournaments.
So wait, real quick.
And I
because-
don't
No,
I
100%.
don't think
He's protecting his reputation, bro. Because like I said, when he said, like, I wish I would have been appreciated or recognized, that literally proves me right. Like you care about your ego, you care about like this streak that you went on, this 10-year streak or whatever the hell it was. Like none of that shit matters, bro. Like the game is different now. We're not playing the same game we used to play in 2011, 2012. Like the shit is different. Like
Right.
you can't hang anymore. That's all it is. Like
So really quickly, just to mention, on when did Arion like stop going or competing in tournaments? Because I haven't been following for a while. Like, what was he not at the last CKK? Not this one, but the one before that with you guys. Like, what
nah,
happened when you
hell
guys
no.
competed?
I think the
No,
last
he
one he went to was
wasn't.
like 2019 or something.
Yeah, I think Arion stopped competing when COVID happened. The last tournament I saw him at was before COVID.
Okay, because I remember he did mention he recently made his return to Fightcade like a year ago. And it's an interesting point you guys bring up because I remember from what No Doubt mentioned on the previous episode was that players like Speed were messaging him and saying that, you know, basically like No Doubt is the best player they've seen for USA UMK3. What's your opinion
That's
on
cool. That's cool. Like whether
I-
that's true or not, that's cool. Like I'd like to see the screenshot or something because I don't believe it, but
Yeah, I don't know if that's true what he said, but I don't care what Speed thinks. I know what I think, and I see how Arion plays, and Arion plays the exact same way as he did 10 years ago. I'll tell you that.
I'll say this though, I did play Arion like a week ago and he did beat me pretty bad, so it seems like he's gotten better.
Rio, we
And-
all beat you pretty bad, bro. Like that doesn't mean shit.
Yeah,
Like,
true, but I mean you kinda have to know how to play UMK3 to like demolish me that bad, right? You can't just like not know what you're doing. So I'm kind of curious to see, like, if you guys did play, like, what do you guys think? You think it wouldn't be like competitive, like, wouldn't be like close back and forth?
He is literally not on any of our level. Like anyone who shows up to CKK, like the top placers, Arian, I wholeheartedly believe Arian cannot fuck with any of those guys. Not just me. I feel
Really?
like
So you're
Arian can't
saying
fuck with
he wouldn't
Blackblade.
he wouldn't come in third place or fourth?
No, honestly, maybe. I don't want to say he's like I don't want to say he sucks and like he can't place high. He probably can if he's lucky and he doesn't run into people like me or Biggs. But I think
I
Arion
think,
is literally like, just fraudulent. Like this the shit he's doing won't
yeah,
slide. That shit will
I
not
do
slide.
agree that Arion is fraudulent. I do agree with that. Arion has like a very specific play style, and if you don't know what to do versus it, or you don't punish the things he's doing, he's gonna steamroll you, and that's just how Arion plays. But I'll say this: Arion had a chance to play me when I actually played that game, and there was a time period where some people considered me like the best in USA. Arion had a chance to play me then. I don't play this game like that anymore, and I'm honestly not interested in playing anyone in this game, to be honest with you. Arion's played Detroit Ballin online. It's not like, oh, if this would happen, you know who would win. Like they've literally played. He gets bodied. Like I don't know. There's literally no discussion there.
Wait, so they already
And-
played?
and you-
When did this happen?
They
Yeah,
play
we
many times
played.
on
We played
Fightcade.
plenty of times online. Yeah,
I
They
didn't know
they
this. I
played
thought
many
you guys
times on
didn't play
Fightcade.
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, they've played a lot. Like, and I think this goes back to the whole keyboard thing. Like, if you played versus Detroit Ballin and you lost, like bad, and you're gonna start saying like, oh, he's playing on keyboard, like that's the only reason he's winning. Like that shit is cope, bro.
100%. And that shit happened. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Biggs, but that shit happened literally the other day when we played. So we played a first to 10, and the game was just like randomly like freezing, right? And it was doing it in like convenient like times. It wasn't just like mid game. It was like in between rounds or something like that. So this dude Arion was literally like dragging that screen, like freezing the game for a couple minutes to play it off as if like the connection was bad. Like he thought
that still works on
he thought
Fightcade. You can
I
do
didn't know
that?
what he. Yeah, hell yeah, you can.
Oh my god!
He thought I don't know what he was doing. He was trying to play it off as like the shit was just laggy or whatever. It's like, bro, you're just finding a way to cope. You're finding like an excuse, like a way out of like why I'm beating you. You can't just accept that I'm just better than you, bro. Like that shit was so obvious. Like you're not fooling nobody, bro.
Yeah, I think Tom Brady said it best. All these old players that they're no longer the best. Like, just accept it, bro. Like, Detroit Ballin's way better than I ever was at this game back then. And you know what? I'm not out here salty. Like, it is what it is. He's better now. Like,
wait a minute. Hold on.
I'm happy.
Hold on. Wait a
but
minute. You're telling me that you're going to be able to hang when Lex comes back on WaveNet?
I'm
You
peeved.
think
Maybe
I know
not
you didn't
all.
even.
got what it,
I don't even.
wait a
yo,
minute.
yo,
You
Lex,
got what it takes to go up
the
against
biggest
Lex?
scrub from Chicago.
I'm about
The
to
biggest
throw
scrub.
up.
Okay,
The
look,
biggest
hold on.
scrub. I know you didn't just say Lex.
I'm
Lex.
not even
James
trying.
MK, hold up.
I'm not even trying to talk trash about Lex, even though Lex hates me for some
Lex?
reason. But I saw some footage back in the day. He used to run
No,
train.
you didn't. Next topic, bro.
In the footage?
If you never
No,
saw
you
his
didn't.
Jade in the corner, then you're gonna get ready for it because in WaveNet.
Okay, so
Next,
I'm gonna be
next
honest with you.
topic. Next topic. According to somebody, he's the he's the execution master of all time, the best player in every fighting game. Mr. Detroit Ballin, can you handle a check?
Oh my god!
Check? What are we
Really?
talking
Check
about,
doesn't
like,
play the
that?
2D MKs. Check doesn't even play the 2D MKs.
But he said he was the execution master in all these games based on his combo.
Look,
I
Detroit.
beat him in
look,
MK9 at NEC. Like
I just hope Detroit.
Yeah, but
I
I bet you had to use his combos to do that, dude.
I may lose to like this lake that he has in his backyard 10-0.
Bro, I was
but,
gonna
you
say
know,
I hope Detroit has swimming lessons, but aside from that,
Damn.
no, I don't.
Let's not get into that.
I don't think.
people don't know about that
Well,
shit.
Dave,
No,
you
we don't
brought
wanna-
Czech. You understood what you did by bringing Czech up in here. You understand Czech has a very big feud with a lot of us. But
I'm
yeah,
just
so
bringing
to
up
switch,
what I was linked to. I was linked.
Czech
to some
doesn't
kind
play
of-
2D MKs. Lex is actually someone that used to play. So to compare Czech to whatever our previous players makes no sense.
You linked me to a post. The Czech was saying that he's
Yeah,
like,
because Tom and I were just talking about today, and Czech is going crazy. But this is a whole different topic for a whole nother episode.
tweet, or was that a tweet that Czech posted or not?
That's his biography on his YouTube channel.
Oh, wow.
But
I'm
anyway,
dead.
yeah.
Oh,
But
jeez.
anyway, to go back to UMK3, so you guys feel like none of the old school players are gonna be able to hang, like not Shock, not DC Hustle, Shaney McGrady. I know you guys are a little afraid of base. Because this cabal was like no other.
You know what's funny, Rio? A lot of these players you mentioned, they're still playing right now. They're not coming back. Like they're still around right now.
Okay, I know Bates probably still plays because he enjoys UMK3, but I'm not like back then.
I play Shock every couple months.
And Shock is good. He's underrated. People think he's like not
Yeah,
like he can't
like-
do anything, but he's solid at the game.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not looking to play UMK3 in this Legacy collection at all. Like that shit is a wrap, bro. Like the time of UMK3 is over.
I'm gonna
It's
say
over,
this.
bro.
I think WaveNet is kind of like I don't see the point of really playing UMK3 unless WaveNet's super bad, but I think the games to play are WaveNet, and I do want to try out MK4 because I've been hearing nothing but good things about MK4 from you guys, which makes me want to pick it up.
So I mean, like Dave asked why we're not interested in UMK3. You have to understand, Dave. We've been playing this game for a long time, like almost a decade. Some of us. The UMK3 is at a point where there's nothing new in that game that's going to be discovered. People are playing at a high level. We see the end game for this game right now, and it's fucking Detroit Ballin. Some of these people don't want to admit it, but it is what it is. I think UMK3 is just played out at this point. Like I'm not interested in playing it. I'm moving on to something new.
That makes sense.
Okay, but wait, hold
obviously,
on. What if the meta develops five to 10 years from now? Let's say it gets really big and there's a huge player base. They add a ranked mode and it explodes. Do you think the meta is going to be different for any sort of character where they figure out something and it's
I don't think so at this point, and it would have to be like a very big meta shifting event for me to even care to come back and play it. To be honest with you, like to take the game seriously.
Yeah, I think what we know nowadays, it's we can kind of see where the game is going, like what direction the game's going, and like Big said, it's kind of like the end of the game's life.
So
like
so you guys saying
for the
UMK3 is
longest
kind of
time,
maxed
for
out.
the longest
Like, you
time, no, hold on. For the longest time, like nobody saw Molina. For the longest time, like no one knew what she was capable of doing. Like then people started punishing sweeps and found out Molina could punish her sweeps with her roll, and now she's optimizing these combos for 50%. So like all the flaws that she had back in the day are no longer a thing. So now she's considered like a top 5, top 6 character. Like with something like that, like I feel like it's still possible. I'm not saying it's like it's a definitive no, like the game's no longer going to advance, but I think we know enough about this game and how it works to kind of like predict the future. And then yeah, I think the game is kind of like it's like it's reached its peak pretty much.
Fleshed
It-
out.
it's kind of like MK9 where it's like maxed out. Like it's not going to be a whole meta changing shift over the years.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I do
agree.
think with MK4, that's a game that's not it hasn't really been explored, and like Biggs and I play that shit like all the time, and we've been saying that this game is way more fun than MK3. It has more potential, and honestly, I feel like once people start playing MK4 when Legacy Collection comes out, like they're gonna understand what we're saying.
See, that's
Yeah.
a very interesting talking point because UMK3 is fun to me, and if you're saying MK4 is even more fun than that, then I could just imagine like once you
But
start.
that's the thing. Like a lot of people stop playing UMK3 because it's like played out or like the game's not going anywhere. Like I still have a lot of fun with the game. Like all
Well,
like,
no, I think a lot of people stopped playing back. Well, at least I stopped playing UMK3 back in 2011 because MK9 was coming out, not because I thought the game was boring.
Same, yeah, same. Because I was playing back in those 6 days. I played until MK vs DC came out, whatever. Like, but yeah, 100%. Like I don't know. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. 1 second. Sorry.
I think MK4 is like a real breath of fresh air. It's very similar, like the basics of the game. If you've played UMK3 before, you can get started in MK4 really fast. And I think the game has a much higher execution barrier. I think there's a lot
I like
of
that. I'm a
lessons
fan already.
learned. There's a lot of lessons learned from some of the poorer aspects of UMK3, like the corner jabs and stuff like that. You can't really do it in MK4 the same way. The glitch jabs are a little bit less important in MK4. Like everyone still glitch jabs, but it's not to the same like overwhelming degree as it is in UMK3.
Yeah, so you're saying there's more like countermeasures to it, like better normals, better specials.
Sorry, I'm back. Yeah. So
it's
going
just
going off
the
of,
glitch jabs. The glitch jabs just work different. Yeah.
yeah, going off of like kind of what Biggs is saying, it's the glitch jabs are it's in the game, but it's not really like the meta. Or it's not really like what you're primarily like going for. For the most part, it is. But there's also like knee starters you could do in the game, like with like running up close high kicks into a glitch jab. So it's like you're kind of mixing it up with, jabbing combo starters into more jabs, if that makes sense. But there's things that are in MK4 that are not in MK3, kind of like the instant straight up jump kicks, which I think push the game so far. Like especially if you're doing it at a level like Biggs and I are doing it, we're literally like spacing out and like throwing instant straight up jump kicks like in our neutral just to like bait out like whiff attacks and stuff like that, and we're optimizing for 50+% every time. So I feel like once people start implementing stuff like that in MK4 and once start understanding how to do it, it's gonna blow up. I just hope this collection gives it the fair chance of that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have written MK4 off, and they never really gave it a fair chance at all. And I really hope that they do this time around because I think the game, I think it's way more fun than UMK3 personally.
Yeah, 100%. And I do want to say, like, Biggs and I have been talking about this for a couple months now. Especially when this collection comes out, it's going to give us every more reason to do it. But similar to MK3, it's kind of hard to find like proper resources and like Rio, you had to come up with a video on you had to come up with a video on how to glitch jab and how to like counter glitch jabbing or whatever your video was, Biggs and I, we've been talking about, making our own tier list, making our own like kind of like just like footage for the game, just to kind of like help people learn the game and understand like what to do, how to approach it. So I kind of want to. I'm not trying to like promote ourselves, but like I just want to throw that out there. Like,
No,
'cause
go
that's
ahead,
something
promote.
that's going to be in the
Because
works.
I think you
So
guys should be showing because it's important.
yeah, because we do want to push this game. We do want people to like see what we see as far as like the potential goes. Because I feel like once people start understanding this game, they're going to start appreciating it a lot
they're
more.
probably going to gravitate towards it more compared to other. They're going to realize how good it is.
Because visually, like it's like it's like a like Dreamcast, like whatever shit. The game just looks terrible, visually. But once you like start like playing the game and understanding it, like everything changes. Like I think the way Biggs and I look at the game now, it's like that game is fucking visually like beautiful to us. Like we love that game inside and out.
Yeah, it's kind of like Melee, where you look at Melee, it's like, what is this old ugly game with these cartoon characters? But then when you appreciate the gameplay, it's like, wow, this game's actually amazing. Once you get into it,
Yeah,
that's the most important thing. But yeah, one thing to note is MK4 is basically the last Mortal Kombat game that Midway designed that built off UMK3 basically. So everything they learned about UMK3, they expanded on their knowledge into MK4. And after MK4, they kind of scrapped everything to make VA. So, in a sense,
kind of going back to what Big said too. People who do play or know how to play UMK3 shouldn't have like a hard time getting into MK4 because for like the most part, like the whole glitch jabs are in the game, like universal launches for the most part are in the game.
I don't know. When I tried MK4 with you guys at one time a while ago to give it a try, I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I was going to say. Yeah, I was gonna say like at a foundation, like at like the very like basic level of UMK.
Yeah, you're saying like sweeping,
you'll
jabbing, doing high kicks, but not actually playing the meta. Like you just know the basics.
Like glitch jabbing and stuff like that. Like doing like combos because the combos for the most part are pretty similar, like timing wise. Once you start implementing like straight up jumping snare combos, everything changes. But I feel like once you get to that point, like it's just gonna be like a whole different game. Like you'll like people will appreciate it a lot more at that point.
I think there's more variety in the play styles in MK4 too. In UMK3, Dave's like the biggest promoter of like zoning play styles and stuff like that. You can't win in UMK3. Like it's very difficult to straight up like just play a complete zoning gameplay in UMK3 and beat people. There's certain characters in MK4 where you literally can do that. Like if you wanted to.
The real light about
Wait. I never lied about saying there's strong zoning in UMK3.
So here's the thing.
Wait a minute. Don't be fooled by Biggs. There's some characters in UMK3 that will zone your shit out.
Yep, like Magnus. He'll zone you out with the shoulder.
I'm
peace. So here's the thing, Dave. Here's the thing, Dave. There's like one or two characters in UMK3 that are like legitimate zoners, right? But you can. Yeah, Reptile is one of them.
Cabal is obnoxious zoning.
You cannot beat somebody in UMK3 just 100% zoning. It is not possible. Like that is not a thing.
And this is what I try to tell Dave. They want to literally just sit there, throw fireballs, and win the round just doing one thing, and that's it. Never approaching, never doing anything else.
They lied.
But well, then you should understand that there's some characters like Cabal wins their fireball a lot. That's a form of zoning. But yes, you're gonna have to know how to fight up close, apply some pressure, do stuff other than just only zoning these characters. But they do have a strong zoning in their game plan. Like Reptile, Cabal, Detroit mentioned Jax. Him also, he could be annoying with spamming sweeps, his fireball every 5 seconds, ground pound. So if you want to play like that, there are characters for you to pick.
The point I'm trying to make is that in UMK3, like zoning is not the answer, is not the way to win in that game. Like it's not a good idea most of the time. In MK4, you can barely legitimately play like Tanya and zone people, and it can be extremely effective.
Yeah, Tanya's ridiculous. Her fireballs are insane.
Or you can play Fujin and pull out your crossbow, and you can start zoning people that way. You can run away with Sub-Zero the whole game if you want.
Yeah, it seems like some of the projectiles in MK4 are fast, they're good on block, and they lead to like they seem like pretty good in neutral in general.
Yeah, and the thing with MK4 too, there's like stages that are way bigger than others. So if you're playing on a big stage, you could literally just run away the whole time, especially like with someone like Sub-Zero or even Fujin. Yeah, it's very easy to play lame in that game as opposed to MK3 where it's
you guys are probably right. MK4 probably like later down the road. I don't know how long it's going to take for people to realize how good MK4 is, but maybe a year or two, whatever. Hopefully we get a rank mode by the time everyone's playing it. They're going to realize that, wow, MK4 is actually a very good game. It's very fun to play. It's fast paced. You have all these different play styles. A lot of top tiers are fun. Like Fujin looks fun. Tanya looks fun. Reiko, Scorpion, like just, the characters just look interesting.
Rio did mention Tanya to be fair.
Yeah, and even with that, like to this day, like Biggs and I started playing the game a couple years ago. Like we just found some Reiko tech that is kind of like game breaking. Like not game breaking, but it changes that character's place in the
Meta
tier list.
altering.
Yeah, meta altering for sure. Like
Yeah.
it used to be to where he would not be able to get like 50% anywhere on the screen. Now he easily can. Like he's able to optimize like wherever and whenever is off any hit.
Yeah,
pretty much.
we're definitely still finding new things for MK4.
Yeah, and that's really great that you're able to discover more tech for the game also. I think that's going to breathe a lot more life into it as people learn and play it.
Yeah, and I want to address something too. Tom, I'm going to call Tom Brady out here.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say this
I
because
think
Tom
Tom
has
is
kind of been
not
saying
Lord
MK4 is not good. Like, so here's the thing. Let me just say this. Tom has been telling me, and you know, like I'm not saying Tom is like the voice of reason. Whatever he says is fact, but Tom has been telling me that MK4 is not that good. It's like just bad. There's unblockable, this and that. But to be fair, I'm not going around saying that about MK4 at all because when I look at MK games, I like to play them first and form my opinion after I get a better understanding of them. So I've kind of like not been going around saying, "Hey guys, don't play MK4 as this or that." But from what I've heard, and Tom is one of them, he's been telling me that, you know, MK4 is overhyped. There's unblockables. It's not going to be good. It's like kind of a mess. It also has glitch jabbing and stuff like that. If you guys want to touch on that.
Yeah, Tom is not. I think Tom's overblowing it, to be honest with you. There are unblockables in MK4, but it's not as widespread that I think Tom is leading you guys to believe. There is a couple situations where you can get unblockable. But I think it's a little overblown. That's my personal opinion.
That's only because you play those characters that do the unblockables.
That's true. That is true. But I mean, like, if you so here's an instance, Rio. There's a couple characters in MK4 like Kai, he's getting unblockable. Shinnok's getting unblockable.
Yeah,
Reptile's getting unblockable. Jax can get unblockable. Johnny Cage can get unblockable, and I think that's it out of all of them. Oh, Scorpion can sometimes.
So it's 6 characters.
Yeah, the only character where I think it's like a legitimate issue is probably Reptile. Like he's getting fucked. If you don't know that, if there's a window at the start of the round where you can't block, certain characters cannot block in MK4, and it's for around 10 frames. Reptile, for some reason, is longer. His is like 15 frames, so it's a lot easier. But when I'm saying the reason why I'm mentioning the frames, some of these unblockables are just frame, and you can only do it when you're player 1. So I think a lot of them are a little overblown. You could easily just play these characters on like P1. You're probably not going to get unblockable because it's literally not possible. And if they miss the just frame, you're full combo punishing them too. So some of these are not easy. But in the case of Reptile, yes, it is unfortunate for that character.
So this is something that's not hard to do. It's not like you just can do it instantly. You have to actually, it requires timing and it's hard, which makes it a little bit better, I guess.
So what you're saying is if I use Tanya and I guess I drill, right? Because I think that looks very fast. So it's unblockable for the other, for like a Reptile player who's player 2. Is that what you're saying?
I mean,
it's only because
it's not just player 2 for Reptile. For him, it's P1 and 2. But
I
yes,
see.
Yeah, and it's only because of like the pre-fight animation he does. It's just like longer than other characters for some reason.
Yeah,
and this is
so,
but it's not every match. It's not every matchup too. So like, it's not like you're going to be playing versus Tanya every game. You know, if you play versus like Raiden, it doesn't matter. You know, Raiden's not really going to unblockable you maybe. Or if you're playing versus, there's a big difference from getting hit by an unblockable drill or a clock kick than getting hit by like a fly kick or a slide from
Sub-Zero
Sub-Zero
or something. Yeah.
So some of these things are not. It's not the end of the world.
almost like if you play Reptile, you start with less HP. You have like less, health.
Exactly.
It's like playing
Exactly.
Akuma.
But I'm not gonna lie. If you're playing Reptile and you're playing versus Reiko, yeah, that shit does suck. Like
50%.
But
Right
that's
there,
a
right?
matchup. That's a matchup. Pick a different character. That matchup's bad.
What is Reiko hitting Reptile with?
Clock kick into 50%.
50%.
launcher.
Yeah. It's a 50.
What's the move?
His
Clock kick.
flip
Clock
kick.
kick.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah.
It's a fast
Yeah,
advancing launcher kick.
Yeah. And that one is easy to do versus Reptile. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, so basically the reason why this happens, and you mentioned by Detroit, is if you haven't noticed, Dave, and those who haven't played MK4, in MK4 in the beginning, every character has a unique animation. Like if you pick Scorpion, the round starts, he'll walk up and bow down before the fight starts. If you choose Reptile, the match will start. He'll like look at the ground and do this twirl animation and look right. So every character has a built-in animation, and the characters that have this longer animation, the other character already recovers in time when it says round 1 fight, so they can move before the character can finish. It's like it's just an oversight they missed.
But for the record, I have played. I have played Ultimate before. Same thing with or even other games, right?
MK4.
Like Trilogy. Yeah, like it's just obviously not a competitive level, which is
Yeah, but if you remember, characters had different intro animations when the
Yeah,
round
I
starts. They all
agree.
have like some of them have unique ones.
But are you guys are talking about like Mortal Kombat? Which version of the game are we getting, and what's the tournament standard?
MK4. We're not getting gold,
So
at least yet.
these unblockables exist in all forms of MK4. It's not just the arcade or like a console version. Literally, you can play any version of MK4. They all have this in there. The one we're getting on Legacy Collection is the arcade version of MK4. That's really important because we have never gotten the arcade version of MK4 released on any home, like modern home console, and that game has not been emulated on MAME properly to this day. So this is like a very, very big deal to get MK4 in people's hands right now because it's never ever happened for any of the classic MK re-releases. They've never included MK4. If you're wondering about like the tournament standard for the game, I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody is really playing the arcade version of MK4 for the past like 10, 20 years, you know? If you go in the only other place that really plays MK4 in the world right now is Venezuela. They never stop playing that game ever. They seem to favor the N64 version of the game. In America, we typically play MK Gold usually, but everyone who is good at MK4 is going to have to adjust going back to the arcade version.
Yeah, so we're basically getting a version, Dave, MK4 Arcade, which is the least played. Like, it hasn't been played since arcade days, so it's very underexplored. And from what I'm hearing, and I remember Biggs mentioning this at one point, there's some slight changes from version to version. Like, arcade may do some different stuff than the console port. And do you want to talk about that, Biggs?
Yeah, there's definitely slight changes. The biggest one for the console ports, every console port of MK4, even Gold, they run at 60 frames per second, so it's a little bit faster. The arcade version of MK4 is a little bit slower, so everyone's gonna have to adjust going back to that. There's different gravity in the arcade. Characters stay in the air a little bit longer, so you can get like bigger combos and stuff like that. Certain characters have specific changes. For example, in the arcade, Reiko's teleport always tracks the opponent no matter where they are on the screen, so he's much easier to combo with compared to the console versions where you have to really pay attention to where you are on the screen to do the correct combo. Some characters have different properties on their weapons, like Tanya. Her boomerang can take a while to come back to her in the arcade version, whereas in the console, it comes back pretty instantly. So there's a whole wealth of like minor differences, and everyone's going to have to adjust coming back to the original version of the game.
Yeah, so this is like a new version we're going to be playing, basically.
I thought that the N64 version of Mortal Kombat 4 was the gold version.
No, Gold
No,
is
that's not
Sega
true.
specific.
No. So Gold is only on the Dreamcast.
Oh, I thought it was an N64.
No, N64 is
No,
regular
no.
MK4, just with changes.
Yeah, the
I see.
N64, the PlayStation, and the PC, they are like the regular Mortal Kombat 4, but Gold is on Dreamcast, and that has like the extra characters.
Yeah, so Dave, Gold is exclusive to Sega Dreamcast, as N64 Trilogy was exclusive for that console. How it plays with its own changes and stuff, sort of like that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, let me ask this. Then I have to go. Where do you guys stand, both Biggs as well as Detroit Ballin? What do you guys stand on the MK Trilogy? Just in general, like on the PS. What was it? PS1, right? And where do you stand on the game on the N64? And is the game because Rio makes it seem like it's the best, and in my opinion, from what I've seen, I think it has the best balance between.
Hold on, I never said it's the best fighting game ever. I said it's super fun. I actually prefer it over UMK3.
Oh, that's what I meant. So where do you guys stand on the game?
I'll handle this first because I think I have a really different opinion than everybody else. People in America don't really have much experience with that PlayStation version of Trilogy. We don't really play it here. South America probably has played that version the most, and I really think they dropped that version competitively because there's a lot of like glitches associated with running it in a tournament. So they've migrated from the PlayStation version to the N64 over time. And in America, we always play the N64 version. I really liked N64 when I was a new UMK3 player, but as I got better at UMK3, I grew to really despise N64 Trilogy, and I think this is the natural progression for everyone playing UMK3 in the sense that in N64 Trilogy, it's easier to win if you're newer at the game because, in my opinion, that game is very random, and UMK3 has much more like it's much more structured in how you approach the game, and it's much more fundamental. So I feel like in 64 it's a lot easier to like fraud your opponent out and do really random things, whereas that stuff could literally like never occur in UMK3 at all.
Like what?
Like you get these more controlled as a game when you're playing, whereas in Trilogy people
Oh,
kind of do stuff.
Like
Example,
Yeah.
Sub-Zero can go crazy, throw ice showers everywhere. You have to watch out for this. He's gonna clone. He's
Well,
gonna
it's
ice puddle.
not just that. Like this whole discussion about glitch jabs being like a whole thing about UMK3, like that shit doesn't exist in Trilogy, N64
Yeah, it's
Trilogy.
not nearly as
the
important.
game. No, wait. The game has glitch jabs in Trilogy. They're just not as good.
No, I know.
Yeah, it's
100%.
not. It's not
I'm
as
saying, like,
nearly as
that's
important.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah,
That's
so-
not like the meta.
So Dave, because
Yeah,
of the
N64.
that makes the game feel more like crazy because now like you can't just sit there and like kind of control the game at a pace and force your opponent to play a certain way. You have to
And
deal with a
the
lot
game
of
is
like.
so. The game
Sorry,
is
go
so
ahead.
fast on N64 Trilogy. You can kind of do like a lot of really random things, and it can work like totally.
yeah,
And
like,
you
for
can be
example-
like a complete masher, and you know it can work out. Whereas UMK3, that shit would never fly.
Yeah, example in Trilogy and 64, Shiva can get away with doing like run up, low kick, high kick, and because the game is so fast, it's like, damn, I kind of missed the punish there. Do I want to risk punishing this? Like it's a bit scarier to deal with things consistently as you would in UMK3. If Shiva ever did that, she would get punished every single time. You're not getting away with doing that randomly.
Right. So I think a lot of newer players for UMK3 who are not like as strong fundamentally at the game really like Trilogy because it is easier to win in that game. And the UMK3 fundamentals don't matter as much. So I think Trilogy's fun, but like would I rather play it over UMK3? No, I would not. But it's
Yeah.
cool. Like it's fun. It's its own thing. You can't like look at a Trilogy player and judge how good they are going to be at UMK3. It's a completely different game.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I do have like a different opinion slightly because I do feel like the N64 version of Trilogy is actually really fun. Looking at like N64 Trilogy players who come over to UMK3, like some of them just can't even compete with us. It's kind of like backpacking off of what Big said. I think N64 Trilogy, to me, it's kind of like a breath of fresh air in the sense of it plays very similar to UMK3 kind of, but it has its own mechanics, and because of that you have to play kind of different, which I like about that. When it comes to Trilogy PSX versus Trilogy N64, I do prefer N64 as well over that because the minor bugs like Biggs was talking about, well, they're not really minor. The bugs that Biggs was talking about earlier about like the aggressor bug and the PS1 version. To me, I don't like how similar it plays to UMK3, the PS1 version, because I feel like it's just like a 60 FPS version of UMK3 for the most part. Not considering like the load times because all that shit's going to be taken out in the Legacy Collection. I feel like if I'm going to be playing a Trilogy game, I'd rather it be N64 only because it even has like added moves that aren't in the PS1 version, like Kano Psycho Ball. It just feels like a completely brand new game to me, and that's why I prefer the 64 version. Aside from like like the bullshit characters like C-Sub and Noob, I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
it plays like
not
a completely
excited.
different game.
Yeah, I'm not
Is,
excited about the PS1 version of Trilogy being in
Guys, I thought
Legacy Collection.
aggressor was disabled.
You can turn it off. It's an option.
So you can turn aggressor off, but there's a glitch in the PlayStation version where sometimes it is not disabled. So that's why they
Yeah.
stopped using it competitively in tournaments. Yeah.
I know, but it's usually always disabled when you play the game competitively, though, right? Isn't that the standard?
Yeah, but what Biggs is saying, the problem is even when you disable it,
Yeah.
someone will still get the effects of having the aggressor even though it's disabled. So it's kind of like one person has an advantage over the other.
Yeah. So
And that's specifically in PlayStation version.
So it's so having aggressor, like even obviously forget about if you disable or not in the glitch or not. It's essentially kind of like having a random factor
Like
with
having
like
X factor, basically, dude. It's ridiculous.
Aggressor is the aggressor is a dumb like mechanic, to be honest with you. But the reason why it's turned off in the N64 version specifically is because it literally slows the game down and makes the game drop frames. Like aside from it being like busted and like you're doing infinite damage pretty much, but like yeah, literally the game like slows down.
is the chip is also increased while you're in it, right? Is that correct?
I think that your damage in general is increased. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything's increased.
but
I
it's
think your
so
speed or something like that too, if I'm not mistaken.
it's so brain dead because Shiva can hit you with a 4-hit mid string with aggressor and you lose like half your life. And it's like, who said UMK3 needed more damage? You know, like it's one
Yo,
of the least
that's my
problems.
type of game, modern gaming. Let's go.
Bro.
Yeah.
The 4-hit combo for Half Life, yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
But no, like what they're saying is true. Like the games feel so different. That's one of the reasons why I like N64 Trilogy because I feel like its own game. And the characters I play in N64 Trilogy are completely different than characters playing in UMK3. Like in UMK3, I'm using like Cabal, Nightwolf, Katana, whatever. But in N64 Trilogy, I play completely different. I play Sub-Zero, Jax, and then for my third, I either use Shiva or Scorpion. You would never see me playing these characters in UMK3 because the game just is so different, and these characters are, the meta plays differently that makes these characters really fun. And Sub-Zero is extremely strong. Jax is extremely strong.
Are the bosses banned in tournaments for the PS1 version?
I think
Yeah,
they
I think
are.
the PS1 version they are. But like I would say, in America we do not play the PlayStation version at all. So to really get like a good opinion of that version, you would have to talk to a South American, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I was just curious because see, like speaking of like the spectating aspect, right? When I watch the game, obviously I'm just watching it. To me, it looks a lot more fun, than Ultimate because you're seeing all these special moves and they're still like jabbing, but it seems like a more like a balance between, again between special moves, jabbing, and everything else. And I would imagine if you turn on aggressor, obviously it's a nightmare, right? You want to play the game like that, but it would like
It makes the
add to
game way worse.
I know it would like add to the spectating aspect. You're like, oh my god, you just did a 4-hitter and did like 60%.
Bro, you have
like,
aggressive. Shiva does her unblockable telestomp. You lose like 40 life. It's just like not very. And the game's lagging while it's happening. So it's like, what is this? You're playing online, offline. I mean,
Yeah, like what you said, there's less jabs and there's like less people doing special moves, but like I would argue it's more random.
yeah,
Like
because
that,
now, okay,
it may look like that to you as a spectator, like they're doing other things, but as a player, they're just doing random shit. Like,
yeah. So Dave, when you can use jabs to control the certain like matchup or move, what do you think players are going to be doing? Now you have Shiva running up to you. Is she going to stomp? Is she going to do kick? Is Nightwolf going to come in and do this? Is Sub-Zero going to walk up and do ice shower or clone or puddle? Like you don't know what's going to happen. So it's definitely more crazy to play.
and there's definitely characters on Trilogy that like classic Sub-Zero, like that character is fucking stupid. Like that,
Yeah.
in my opinion, I thought they should ban that character, but no one ever has.
Okay,
but
that's a
they
bit
just let that
stretched,
rock.
but he's probably the best character after Noob. I don't know if I'd say he's ban worthy, but he's definitely probably the best.
I think there's a lot of
he's for sure ban worthy, bro. That
yeah,
character's
there's a
fucked
lot
up.
of things about that character that are not fair at all. Like you get hit by a lot of unblockables. Like it's really dumb.
Yeah, and you can't ever jump at him because if he does clone and you go anywhere near it and you go to block the clone, he'll always unblock you with the puddle.
Yeah, he's
for a
gonna
full combo.
he's gonna ice
So-
clone. You jump into the clone
Yeah.
block. He's gonna puddle you, and then you get 100%ed or trapped. He kills your character. He throws a puddle on the ground. Your next character jumps into the puddle when they come in. Like there's a lot of dumb stuff with that character.
Yeah, but his zoning and keep away are so strong that like a lot of characters, it's hard for them to approach him. They have to play a certain way.
Yeah, but in just my general opinion on Trilogy,
hold on,
I think
but
if
wait,
you're
wait,
like
wait.
a newer player, like you probably would enjoy Trilogy, but like the better you get fundamentally at UMK3, you probably will not like it as much. But it's its own game; it's completely different.
Yeah, but hold on, we need to mention because Sub-Zero's not the only dumb character in it. There's a lot of ridiculous characters. Like Jax is insane in Trilogy. Scorpion
Jax
is really
is
good.
much better.
Cabal is still good. Armac is still good. What's his name? Kung Lao is ridiculous. Like there's a lot of crazy characters.
Why
Human
is
Smoke is still
Jax-
good. Because
Jackson
in
the
the
old-
corner he gets first of all, the game speed helps Jax. His ground pound, his fireballs recover even quicker, and his combo in the corner it doesn't push you back like it does UMK3. So Jax in Trilogy is like Jax from MK9. He hits you in the corner, you're getting 100%. You're losing a character. Like he's very scary.
Jax is very broken in that game.
Yeah. Kung Lao is
characters like
insane
Cabal are worse. His Trilogy. you can't buffer like the ensnare fireball the same way as you can in UMK3. So you can't really spam those fireballs like you can on Cabal and UMK3. So it's much different playing Cabal on that version.
I mean, technically you can spam. It's just it's a lot harder to do. Like, it requires a lot.
I don't think that's. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that's accurate. I think that emulator you're playing on is doing something that is not reflective of playing that game on an N64. That's my opinion on that.
Really, because it's
me. Yeah, me and Detroit play on the actual N64, and you cannot spam like Cabal fireballs like you can on UMK3. Like the input is not being buffered in the same way. The game does not allow it.
I'll have to dust off my N64 because I do have one with controller, but because I had the emulator for it, and I can still do Cabal and start fireballs. They're just like they're a lot more strict because the game.
I mean,
is so
what
fast.
people do when they're playing on an N64 pad, I think both joysticks work, D-pad and joystick. So I think people will hold up on the joystick and just tap back on the D-pad. I think that's what Black Blade was doing when he was playing last year in the Trilogy tournament.
Oh, so they're doing shortcuts basically to get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't input it the same way. Like,
but no, the game speed does make the ensnares hard to do, like, definitely, and a lot of other stuff. Melina's also very hard to play in Trilogy because of how fast the game is.
Yeah, a lot of the characters in UMK3 are worse in Trilogy, like Reptile and Melina, because just the game speed makes a lot of what they do very difficult.
Even Ermac too, with his anti-air punch.
Even Ermac doesn't get the same damage in Trilogy because the game's so fast. Like you don't get to do the second lift in time. Like there's a lot of differences. Yeah.
And characters like Robust Smoke are even better in Trilogy.
Yeah, I'm a known Robot Smoke abuser for Trilogy.
That character's gonna make if they ever add the N64 version to the collection and we get a ranked mode, I think people are gonna learn to hate going up against Robot Smoke because that's one character that you go invisible and it's almost like you can't play the game. You don't know where he is, what's he doing, can I move? Am I getting hit by spears? Is he jumping? Is he doing a sweep? It's gonna frustrate people like crazy.
I think if they add ranked mode to either Trilogy game, it's gonna be fucked up in the Legacy Collection because I feel like if they add, so N64, let's say hypothetically they add it, all we're going to see is like noob Cybots. But the PS1 version, what people don't realize is Motaro was fucked up in that game. Like,
so
good luck. No, but Motaro was like fucked up.
Yeah,
like dude has like a full screen sweep. Like dude has literally boss damage.
Grab. Yeah,
he's
like
reflecting projectiles.
Yeah, he's reflecting projectiles. Like you can't do shit against that character. Like all you're going to see is like Motaro's
so much for Dave zoning.
There goes zoning. He's got Motaro can zone.
Motaro zoning is stupid. Actually.
Yeah, what the hell?
I
Full
forgot.
screen sweep into
he has Cabals
and
snare fireball, but it's mid and it's way easier to do. It's like the worst kind of fireball. It's basically like a dead shot fireball. Dave's gonna be playing Trilogy on Legacy Collection, playing Motaro and being #1 ranked player. Like, what is this?
I don't make anybody quit. So, what is the sweep that you guys are referring to?
He has a full screen tail sweep, bro.
It's just like his back forward, like his sweep.
Oh, it's full screen?
Yeah, shit, it's full screen.
Dude.
But you don't have to use it. Dave, he has a Cabal fireball from his tail that arcs downward and hits mid from full screen. You can machine gun it, and it's not. You don't have to do this crazy input to do it. You don't have to ensnare it like a ball. You just do it on the ground. You just spam it. The character's very random.
At least like with Super Turbo, like they knew Akuma was essentially like a joke character, right? No one was going to use it competitively. Like NRS adds these stupid bosses on top of what I understand. Like the PS1 has these MK2 characters, right? That you can hidden select or whatever, and then they're also broken.
Yeah. They look ugly as hell in game, by the way. Like they're running, but it's their walk animation. They just look so out of place.
Yeah. Well, guys, you can keep it going.
Yeah, so,
I do have to head out.
If you guys want to wrap, if you guys want to wrap it up here, we'll just do like closing statements. If any of you guys have anything to say, either Biggs or Troy or Cam, if you guys want to say anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to MK4 on the Legacy Collection. I'm planning to do a lot of content for that game. If you guys are interested in MK4, be on the lookout.
Detroit, Cam, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I don't got much. Just shout out to my dog Travis. That's it.
Yo, shout out Trav. Shout out Maddie. And I'm gonna fuck Dave up when that shit drops.
Are you sure you're gonna be able to beat his Motaro? Because it's gonna be hard to fight.
I'm gonna be rushing that bitch down, bro.
Bro, you have no chance against my Motaro and my MK3 Jax, dude. You have no chance.
Nah, dude, you're done, bro.
Bro, I forgot about
rush your shit down so bad.
My MK3 Jax is probably gonna be the best online. You know that.
That's about to get like hit by an infinite by Sub-Zero, but yeah.
I know, right? Yeah, that sucks, but
no, you probably have fun with
Superman Infinite and MK vs DC.
No, but MK3 is kind of fun though. That game's underrated. But I was playing that a few months ago with Detroit and stuff, and we had fun. Like some of the characters are cool, like Jax. But anyway, let's wrap it up here. So thank you guys so much for listening. This has been episode 46. Let us know which game you guys are the most hyped for. You guys are going to be looking forward to MK1, 2, 3, Trilogy, 4, and stay tuned for the next episode.